All right, we are just setting things now, guys, and we'll be on 5 minutes. Just check, is my camera fine?
Sorry, you're towards your left side too much. I was on mute when I was speaking.
Towards my.
Pardon?
On which of the screen? Which of the camera? The screen? Is it? My network isn't stable. Is it on the One African Forum or?
Yeah, I can't see you on the other one. The other one, yeah, it's not showing you.
Do you see me now?
No.
Still don't see me. Still don't see me.
I'm seeing you on One Africa. I'm not seeing you on Edosegi.
No. Check. I'm there. I can see myself here.
I can't see you.
Okay. Okay, I'm back. Can you see me on mute?
Yes, I can see you.
On both?
I'm using my phone, so maybe that's why I'm only seeing you on one screen.
Why don't you scroll? Scroll to the other side on your phone. You should see 3 knobs there.
Oh yes, I can see. Sorry, now I can see. But you're disturbing me. I'm joking.
I knew you were joking. Okay, if that's sorted, then let me know when you're ready. Guys, I just want to make sure those who are joining us on Instagram can have a smoother connection. Okay, I think we're good here. All right. So we're going live on Instagram in a few minutes.
Are you Mr. Ancient or Prince or Idosige?
I'm on both, but I'm probably going to mute one of them depending on the feedback I get from the background.
No, when I refer to you.
Prince.
Okay, Mr. Ancient.
Okay, I have a lot of people in the waiting room already. Let's go to that. Are you ready for now?
Yes, I am. You are anchoring, right?
Yeah, I'm moderating the session. You want to do it? It's not too late to change. Oh, I should have switched it to CLC for today. Or I should have just been a Bromhole. Like seriously, I should have taken that action. I didn't mind discussing it with them. All right, we have people already connecting. I have a lot of them in my waiting, but I just want to make sure we
You're
all
echoing, so you need to turn off one of your mics. You need to mute yourself on one of the things.
would I like to mute myself now? Is that fine now?
Yes.
Okay, my Facebook is fine. I see I'm live on Facebook. Let's check your Instagram. The link for Zoom doesn't work. No, it doesn't. It's 16 minutes and we're late. No, I don't like this. Okay, it looks like we're ready to go. So okay, I'm going now. So you ready? I'm coming. I'm admitting everyone now. Hi, hello everyone.
Hi.
It's good to see you. So yeah, we're a bit delayed, but now we're starting now. I'm just admitting everyone on, and yeah. Okay. So for the record, we're live on Facebook, and we're also live on Instagram. So if you have anyone who is unable to join the Zoom, maybe because we have reached the limit, uh, just tell them to join us on Facebook or Instagram. Okay. So we are going to quickly have a quick introduction. I see quite a lot of us here. So we're going to have a quick introduction. Then we'll just allow the welcome and the opening remarks. And then we'll move on straight to.
Does this mean you're ready for me to speak?
Not yet. Hi, everyone. Can you just just unmute for a second, say hello and tell us where you're from? I'm Prince Siraho, and I'm joining from South Africa.
I'm Titus. Yes. I'm Titus, joining from Kenya.
I'm Ravetsu, joining from South Africa.
This is Comrade Silvanos Okwe, joining from Nigeria.
Hello, this is Evans. I'm joining the call from Lagos, Nigeria.
Hi, everyone. This is Taban Johnson. I'm joining the call from Israel.
Hi, everyone. My name is David Aquara. I'm joining the call from Ghana.
Hello, everyone. I'm Rutsen Domarangere, and I'm joining from Singapore.
Hi, my name is Sito.
Hi, everyone. My name
is South Africa, Rustenburg.
Hi, everyone. Hi, my name is Ivan Skofiewo. I'm calling from Ghana.
Boy.
Hi, everyone.
Right.
I'm Samantha. I'm calling from Switzerland, but I'm from Zimbabwe.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jonas, and I'm calling from Ghana.
Okay. So we'll just have to jump right in. Where is Rabbit? Sorry. So please, we're ready for you.
Rabbit is here. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this African Youth Symposium, where we will be speaking about building the right structures for a sustainable Africa. So as you've joined us today, we've got a panelist, including people with various expertise across various sectors in Africa. They are here ready and willing to share insights regarding how we can build a sustainable Africa. When we speak about building right structures, we don't only speak about buildings as we would normally think when we refer to structures. We speak about how do we build right structures in our educational system such that the syllabus and the curriculum that our students are learning is adequately equipping them for the future. We know how fast technology is taking over. Are our students being equipped to be tech savvy for the Africa that we seek to build? When we speak about right structures, we speak about economic development. We know that the youth is plagued with unemployment. So many of our young people have got degrees, but are sitting at home. So when we are here discussing, we want to know, how do we encourage these people to be entrepreneurs? And how do we properly equip them to be ready for the job market? When we speak about right structures, we talk about the justice system. Is the justice system adequately equipped to deal with the crimes? Or is the justice system something airy-fairy just there to make it seem like it's here to help us? When we speak about building right structures, how do we alleviate social ills in our communities? I, for one, am a fintech geek. So when I think about right structures, I think about financial technology. So we know that in Africa, money remittance services, for example, is something that is used a lot, right? So I think about how do we help financial inclusion by using financial technology? So of course, like I said, there's various other people on the panel with various different kinds of expertise. And we're here to speak about building sustainable structures in Africa. I think about Africa as, can we build a smart city in Africa? Do we have the right sort of infrastructure to think about having smart cities? I mean, we know these things are being done in Asia. We know they're being done in other continents. Can we as Africans really sit and come together and build a smart city? So even as we're here, be ready to ask questions. Put on your thinking caps and let's come up with ideas and let's be willing to implement solutions that we will discover during this meeting. Africa is moving. Don't be left behind. I'm here, I'm ready to learn, I'm ready to engage with all of you. I hope you are as excited as I am. And I just want to say, Mr. Ancient, thank you so much for putting this thing together. I think it's a long time coming, and I'm definitely excited for the work that is yet to come from One Africa Forum. The future is now. Don't be stuck in the past. Over to you, Mr. Ancient.
Thank you very much, Robert, sir. That was powerful. So we are proceeding and we're diving deep right in for everyone to actually have their say. While we await the keynote speaker to join us, I was just talking to him a moment ago, I'd like us to share our expectations. I saw as many of those who registered, saw the expectations you were sharing and so on. But before we move into the expectations, from your country, could you please just highlight one or two challenges that you are facing in your countries? Because we'd love to know, and that's where we'll be able to help and be able to tackle it. One or two challenges that you think is plaguing your country, and one or two opportunities that you think is also available in your country. This is a symposium, this is a roundtable, and this is a family meeting. So who will be taking it first before our keynote speaker come on.
Okay, I can go for it if there's not someone. As for now, I have to say that thanks for One Africa Front. Actually, I was so excited after I got the advertisement in Facebook. I have to say, originally I'm from South Sudan. And as many of you might know that what is really happening in South Sudan, the civil war, a lot of stuff happening, and it is not really after independence that war in South Sudan was being there before the independence. And personally, I have to say that building a sustainable Africa, as one of the speakers earlier said, that we need a structural design. And actually, I have to say that what is facing us in South Sudan is like the structural design, meaning that from the governmental institutions and also from the private sector of businesses, like there's no really a proper structure. And the main issue for me, I have to say that lack of education is the one facing us in South Sudan. Because if people were really educated, they could avoid what is called the tribal war that we're having now. I think this is mainly because of lack of knowledge. That's why people, they got just brainwashed by the politician and they accept whatever the politicians say. And also, for me, I also studied in Kenya, and I know that educational opportunity, they're so rare. What do I mean is that, as that speaker said, that after you graduate, you find yourself that just staying around the residential area, just working, looking for a job, and you lack the job. And I have to say that it is mainly because that students or like graduates are not getting the opportunity. And sometimes I used to ask myself that after being graduated, why are you not thinking to do something by yourself than for the government to provide something for you to do, which is the way of thinking as an entrepreneur, as our sister said before. I think being an entrepreneur or let an African young people to think as an entrepreneur can change the way that we look at ourselves, because most people are getting graduates. I know personally from Kenya, guys that are getting graduate, but they're not getting jobs. they end up like being a motorcycle riders, which is not equivalent to what or amount of money that they spend in university. Actually, that one I think is a disgrace to our educational system and it has to be changed. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Who's going next?
Bitumelo, I'll go next.
Yeah, please.
Am I audible?
Yes, you're audible. We can hear you.
Okay. I'm sorry I didn't introduce myself earlier. It's Bitumelo. I'm connecting from South Africa. So my opinion on this issue is that the problem we have in Africa beyond everything else is greedy leaders, of which now leads to young people to be scared to go into the business world because it all starts as small businesses. There's a lot of opportunities, however, for young people to venture into business, but we have a fear as young people to join into this business world and be independent. We are always looking for funding. We are always looking for somebody to push us, to help us grow. Whereas we could always start on our own. But I think the main problem is that every time that we would want to start, we would find an excuse rather than finding a solution. And we are not open-minded as young people. We are forever now having this thing of tribalism, xenophobic against other Africans in our country. We in denial and we refuse to learn from other Africans. So I think our problem is that we always seek somebody to blame, and we always find excuses rather than to learn and grow from other Africans in general. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That's it. So who will go? I know our panelists are ready, and so I'll be calling on the panelists from now on, one after the other. But that's just after. Sorry, that's just after the keynote speaker has made his presentation. So for now, even if you're speaking as a panelist, you're just going to give us a general view of what's happening in your country, not exactly as regards your speech or your presentation. So yes, panelists, just know you'll be coming on in due course. But for now, we want to understand the situation and the problem that is plaguing our various countries and how we can tackle it, how we can also tap into some of the opportunities in your countries. So yeah, who's next?
I see Samantha's hand was up, and there are also 2 comments in the chat. So maybe you might also want to read those after Samantha speaks.
Thank you very much. Samantha, please.
Thank you so much for this opportunity. Hello, everyone. I'm Samantha. I'm calling in from Switzerland, but I'm from Zimbabwe. So I'll speak about my context in Zimbabwe in terms of how, similar to what Boitumelo just said, I feel as if the leadership doesn't really allow or create an atmosphere or an environment that allows the youth to thrive. Some of the policies or laws that are in place don't allow the youth to freely express themselves creatively and in a way that allows them to economically get ahead. That being said, there's also a high level of unemployment with a lot of graduates, a lot of skilled young people who are not easily absorbed into the economy because of the situation, for the political and economic situation. And the problem that we're facing is a lot of young people who are skilled and who are knowledgeable. Even those who are not highly educated, they still have some level of skills, are being absorbed into other economies. So there's a huge brain drain of young minds going to other continents. Like myself, I'm not even in Zimbabwe anymore. But it's because of the lack of opportunity and a lack of just a lack of opportunity to allow us to grow. Although there are opportunities, and I think there is a space for young people to do so well, because they're brilliant minds and brilliant ideas that could further the economy and further the space for other people to thrive in. It's just like Boy Tumelo said, lack of funds, and just, like I said, a lack of opportunity for those who really want to. And I feel as if then the youth then leave to look for opportunities where they'll be accepted and appreciated for the talents that they have. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Samantha. I actually agree with you, and especially when you say the brilliant minds and brilliant ideas. Africa has so brilliant minds, so many brilliant minds, from the space of technology to business to entrepreneurship. I mean, I have met with so many brilliant Africans, and for every reason and for every time I get to interact with them, I just see such a huge hope and opportunity for Africa. Thank you.
Let me come in at this point. Comrade Silvanus from Nigeria.
I see somebody's hands up. Okay, Okbe, Mr. Yeah, please.
Yes, you cannot effectively discuss the problems plaguing the continent without talking about youth restiveness and gap crisis. The continuous rise, unmitigated rise in the number of poor people, poverty-stricken Africans, against the limited number of continuously rising rich persons in the continent, has created a disconnect in the social status in the African continent. It has also led to youth restiveness, where young persons with untapped vigor, with untapped potentials, are not given the conducive atmosphere to hatch and harness their potentials. Youths who have opportunity, who have bright ideas, are not given the platform to experiment these ideas and bring them out to reality. And this has continued to have adverse effects on the confidence of African youths, leading to increase in crimes and other socio-economic meltdown. And if this continues without the African youths forming a formidable force to entrench leadership with the competence and wherewithal to present the right platforms for the growth of this continent, we'll continue seeing a sustained migration of the middle class, intelligent Africans to the Western world. And this does not leave Africa any better. So we must continue to discuss, we must not fail to continue to discuss the opportunities and the right platforms for Africans to be able to experiment their potential, to bring them out to the full glare. What support are the leadership given to young Africans who want to dabble into technology? What of those who are writers? What platforms are they being given to become better writers, to preserve our history? What of those who want to be economists? What opportunities are they given after graduation from school to experiment what they have been taught? So you see that different fulcrum of the society has continued to witness neglect from the leadership. And it behoves on us, the youths, to continue to advocate for the right platforms to experiment and bring our potentials to reality. I'll stop at this point to continue when it is time to speak as a panelist. Thank you for your time.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you. Is there anyone whose hand is up who has anything to say? Thank you. That was was deep and impacting. So we're looking forward to your presentation as it is. So who is next? Tell us what's happening in your country. Yes, I would like to hear someone from Ethiopia. I'd like to hear someone from Ethiopia say something.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, please proceed, sir.
Okay, thank you. I'm Lama from Ethiopia. Just everything is as told. Just everything happened in Ethiopia is the same as what happened across the continent. The most difficult thing making crisis in Ethiopia is just the social media crisis. Social media is very negatively affecting Ethiopia by dividing people and their culture. Just as we know, there are a lot of ethnic culture in Ethiopia. Just social media are just magnifying us and dividing people in Ethiopia. So the main thing happening is due to the social media crisis, and we are trying to control and take measure how to solve this social media, because these social media are from international companies and they cannot be controlled by Ethiopian government or other continent. So we should have to have something that we can control and that magnify good things in Africa. So we are taking some measures, and I will explain it more soon on the panel. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. We'll proceed on that one on the panel. I'm really looking forward to having that conversation with you from our previous interactions and a couple of things that you're doing in the social media space and trying to bring independence to Africa, and through when we're talking to the panelists. So may I open the floor for any other person? That's someone just speaking from Ethiopia. And Comrade Sylvanus has spoken from Nigeria, and I heard someone from Switzerland. Samantha from Zimbabwe. So yeah. Who's going to take the floor again? Who's talking?
Yes, this is Titus from Kenya. Can you hear me?
Please proceed, sir. We can hear you.
You can hear me. So me, Titus from Kenya, my point of view is this, that especially in Kenya, what we can see about the issues affecting the youth, it's all about the bad governance. In terms of the youth in business, we have we lack a government structure where we can support the youth when it comes to financing, because you can see, like in the Kenyan government, the government is only concentrated with those youth in business. They have neglected those youth who have the intellectual capital. They have ideas in their mind, but the government want to concentrate, or the corporate sector want to concentrate with those youth already in business. So, for instance, in Kenya, some of the challenges that we are facing, as I have highlighted them, and I think that's it's across board in Africa. Let me just a minute. I've just highlighted here. So, for instance, in the youth in the SME sector, they usually have to navigate to our government policies. The other thing, the unfair tender procedures bordering on corruption. Then we have delayed payments for goods and services and the lack of enforcement of the rule of law. Addressing these challenges will be crucial to the long-term success of these businesses. African SMEs are some of the most resilient entrepreneurs we have in the world, with a unique ability to operate in an conducive business environment. So the other thing I have in mind about the challenges we are facing as youth, there is this challenge of the education system in Kenya. The youth, or what we have trained in school or through our education system, is that you can only get better in life when you go through the education system that have been set aside. So from that on, we can approach solving this problem through talent development and capacity building. That is one of the important issues that I would like to comment about. Then the other thing, we have in terms of governance and leadership in the political sector. We have, for example, we have like the board of governors in our various institutions, in government, in the corporate sector. We lack youth who can. The youth are not given the priority there. Like for instance, we have our youth development fund in Kenya. It's a government initiative, but we find that those who are managing or those who are directing managerial position are people who have. So those are some of the factors that we need to really look across the board. We have also the issue of the rapid technology development. So that is another issue that I would like we address as the youth from Africa. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, sir. Just before we start addressing these issues, which of course we will address, just provide solutions and ways forward for your country. May I let the floor open for the next question? Just before please come on. We have quite a number of messages in the group in the chat. Similar, would you please help us just address a couple of them?
Right. Am I audible enough?
Yes, you are.
All right. We have the first message from Max Amani. It reads, Uganda is grappling with high levels of youth unemployment and corruption.
Okay. Uganda.
Did everyone that?
To that? So.
Okay, can everybody hear me?
Everyone can hear.
Okay, the next one is from Deborah. It reads, hi everyone, the challenges faced by youth, especially in rural villages, is lack of access to technology, access to information, and lack of skills to become employable.
Okay.
The next one is
just mute. If you're not speaking, it's a lot better when you just mute and you listen.
Okay, but there's a disturbing sound.
Yeah, please proceed.
And I can see
one more. Yeah, please read one more, and then we have our keynote speaker here. So we're just going to take one or two other points from, and then we'll open
we have one more from Samantha Story. It is an Africa forum for this panel. Describe or define the youth.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
For now, who has any other update for us in your country? Please just confirm. And if you have anything to say, please just raise your hands and we will recognize you. Yeah, any updates from anyone from any part of Africa before we proceed? Comrade Silvanos, is your hand up again, or was it before?
No, it was before. Yes.
Okay, so if we, oh yeah, okay, I see John Shilemi. Yeah, please proceed.
Oh, hi everyone. I'm happy to be part of this platform. I'm John Shilimi from Uganda, East Africa. I'm into logistics and distribution services. I basically do M&A, so I'm an M&A entrepreneur. My best concern is our states, our nations keep signing protocols day in, day after, but implementation is really the poorest. They have a poor approach towards implementation. You realize they have signed protocols like the ESC protocol, now like the recently concluded protocol of the AFCFTA. It's easy signed, but implementing it, it's always the hardest thing to do. So I believe if AFCFTA puts in a lot of effort to push these governments to follow up on implementing with ease by lowering tariffs for imports and exports, then I believe this African continent will move forward in a better direction. Other than that, really, they talk a lot, but they do less. So we'll be happy and we'll reach our goals and our development that Africa desires when more is done than talked. That's basically for now. I'm John Shilimi once again. I'm happy to be part of this symposium. I look forward to hearing more from the panelists here and networking further. Thank you for now. Thank you.
I think you're muted. One Africa from, like, you are muted, we cannot hear you.
Oh, thank you. Sorry about that. Thank you for that. I said thank you, Mr. John Shimili. You just made a good point, and we have a panelist from the African Continental Free Trade Agreement that will address issues on that and let us know the opportunities that are available for us to tap into it. And you rightly said it. There are a lot of things that are said, a lot of stories out there, but the implementation is poor. And yeah, that's one of the essence for this meeting. So thank you. Is there any other person? Okay, now it's 3 minutes to the hour 12 here. I think I heard my brother texting me earlier. So I'll be leaving it. I'll be leaving it at this point to our keynote speaker. Let me see whose hand is up again. Somebody's hand is covered. Okay, Mr. Evans. Mr. Evans, please. I'll just leave it for you quickly. Quick one before I go to our keynote speaker. Mr. Evans, please.
Yeah, hello. Good morning, Africa. Good afternoon. Thank you very much for this opportunity. It's been interesting listening to everyone that have said one or two things, okay, before now. And can I just quickly say this? I would really wonder at the end of this symposium, let's have a change mindset. We really do need to have a change mindset at the end of this symposium. Okay. Number one, we need to understand that life offers no guarantees or warranties, only opportunities. Right. Now, the African youth, we must learn to create opportunity for ourselves. We need to understand the realities of the new Africa that we now live in. School lessons is different from life lessons. Okay, someone can have a very good grades in school lessons, right? Because the operating environment in school lesson is different from the operating environment in life lessons. So it's possible to have a good grade in school lessons. Then when it comes to life lessons, it may not be that so good, okay, in terms of the grade. So I would really want an African youth, a modern African youth, to be discerning. We cannot continue to repeat the same problem. We cannot continue to work on it. Rather, we should start talking about the solution. There are some things we may not be able to change. There's things is not within your power to change. So you're going to have to learn to adapt. And even at that, create and make an opportunities from whatever it is. We talked about bad governance. There are still people that are making it, that are doing well, even in the midst of that bad governance. I personally believe that no youth should have any reason to fail, especially in these modern times when you have the internet and social media technology. Because a lot of opportunities are bound, right? Instead of focusing on the government, complaining, and all of that, we can focus on ourselves, focus on our abilities, focus on our strength, and you see how you can make something out of it. I'm so happy David Aquara is on this call. So please, I just want us to, that at the end of this symposium, we should get ready for a change of mindset, okay? Because during this symposium, we're going to be on getting some realities concerning the present day Africa. The Africa you knew before is different from the Africa you have now. So we need to understand the strategies, how to thrive in the new Africa. So for now, this is just, let me hold it here before. So once we go into the main the main discussion conversation, probably then more issues will come up. So thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Debo. Thank you very much, sir. I really do appreciate it. So quickly, I saw some hands up. Did you lower your hands now? All right, fine. The hands have been lowered. So we're going to leave the floor now. We want to, at this point, recognize our keynote speaker. He's a man that I really respect so much. And I am really happy. I'm really grateful to God that he made it here. And he actually started making so much impact while he was still way much younger. And he's an inspiration to many youth out there. He's dabbled both into politics and also into business. And he's also a career lawyer. And you see, he has all that it takes for you to understand that. Can everyone hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Patty.
All right, thank you. So he has all that it takes to actually put us in line. As the speech goes on, what I'll do, I will share my screen on the One African Forum. I'll share my screen so that you can read through his speeches and just, so that we can also share it as well. I have a copy of it. But then I would like us all to pay close attention and see how we learn. And after that, we then go into the conversation proper with our panelists bringing up their ideas, and then we'll then forge a way forward. This meeting has to give us a way forward. So thank you very much. So, sir, may I just leave the floor now for our own Right Honorable Samson Osaki Esquire. Please, sir, would you please come on now? Hello, sir. Can you hear me, sir? I can see him here, but let me. Okay, yeah, thank you, sir. Yeah, he's on. Hello, sir. Please, may you just take it from here? Hello?
So you would have to check his audio for him. He must connect. If he is not connected, we may not hear him, and he may not also hear us.
I see his audio. He's not muted. Let me see again. His audio.
No, he's not connected at all via audio. You could see he's not connected via audio at all. So you need to tap his audio and then choose to air from his end. So he cannot hear us, but we are talking.
Oh, was that why he said why I can't hear everyone? So
yes, exactly.
Hello. I'm trying to fix it for him, but I think he has to fix it on his side. Yes, sir. I think he just saw a message I sent to him. Trying to.
So he's connecting audio now.
It's on him.
Good.
His audio is not connected on his side. I haven't muted him. Yeah, he's connecting. Okay. I think he's struggling to get a proper connection.
Yes, now. So he can unmute and speak. We are not able to hear him.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir, we can hear you. Welcome, sir.
Yes. Oh, good morning, everybody.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Yes, please.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are we this morning?
Yeah, we are fine from wherever we're from. Some are already in the afternoon, some are in the morning.
Yeah. I don't know who is the host. I thought this is a symposium. We should understand how we should go. Since I'm just going to make a short presentation.
Yes, sir. Okay, thank you, sir. The host is speaking now.
Yeah.
So the host as One African Forum is speaking now. So we just before you came on, what we did, we let the floor for everyone from different countries to, introduce themselves and tell us the challenges that are plaguing their country, the opportunities that are there as well, and how we can profile the way forward. So it was just, we're just having the feel of what it is and how it is currently in our various countries. So we've done that, and we're opening the floor for you.
You've done that, okay. I'm sorry, it means I came late. I was invited by Ambassador Dosige Rao, and I cannot see his face here now, but I think he's with us.
Yes, sir, I'm here.
Okay, I can see you now for the ID system. Yes, my name is Samson Osaki. I'm a lawyer based in Abuja, Nigeria. I am also a political economist. I have my PhD in political economy and development studies. I have been a member of the state legislature and a member of the national legislature. When I was invited to join in this conversation, I thought it is the least I could offer to share my thoughts on what the African youths can do, or how they should be placed in order for their potentials to be fully realized for the African continent. Of course, maybe by the time we start the discussions, a few of the thoughts are put down, which I've also sent to Mr. Dosige, will be made available for us to have the discussions together. Since this is a symposium, it is not a lecture, so we are going to discuss, I suppose. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. So in the meantime, everyone, I'm going to share the lecture. I'm going to share the lecture in the group, and then we all have a feel. And then, you can easily just click on it and open, and then we'll proceed with it. But so meanwhile, in the meantime, sir, thank you for that introduction. Thank you for that introduction. Being a symposium, and sir, we just want to quickly ask you, just as we go through that you have sent to us, I'd like you to just tell us briefly, since you've been in the public space for quite a while now, right from, like I said earlier during your introduction, right from while you were much younger up to this point. How have you been able to carry it through? How have you been able to succeed all through that you think the young people of now need to actually learn from?
Okay, thank you very much. To start with, I was first elected into the state parliament when I was 30 years, 2 weeks old. At the age of 30 years, 2 weeks old, I first got elected into parliament. And even though that transition in our country, Nigeria, did not eventually succeed following the death of General Sani Abacha in 1998, I have to continue to push ahead, and got re-elected again when I was 31 years plus, and that was in 1999. Now, the truth is that In the Africa context, using the Nigerian as a case study, Nigerian case as a study, it's quite difficult to be part of the political process that has been dominated by older generations of our people who will never let go, even at a very old age. And the reason is that they keep occupying the political space for various reasons. One, to give directions to the younger ones that are coming. Two, because the economies of our African countries are not able to sustain old age and retirement. And so you find a man who has been in politics for the last 50 years, see on the corridors of politics because he lives by it. And there are no provisions for old age retirement, or there are no retirement benefits, even from wherever he must have served, even as a legislature or wherever. And I think that I have been able to push on because I try to combine my activism as a young man with vibrant ideas, with loyalty to these older folks. I try to strike a delicate balance. I wouldn't fight them on matters that border squarely within the areas they have to make decisions and feel important, because having supported you to attain public office, it will amount to ingratitude for you to turn around and begin to fight them for the space they occupy before you came. So what I did in my own case was concentrate on my legislative duties and allow them to continue to have their way within the space in the political parties. In other words, while pursuing my official legislative assignment and carrying on with the lawmaking process with much agility and activism, bringing in fresh ideas and pushing the frontiers of lawmaking, I allowed and refused to fight with the older folks, because to do so will mean that your political career will be cut short and you may not be able to advance beyond that level. Because in the next election, you are going to need them again to sit down and decide whether or not you will go or you will not go again. So I did that very successfully, struck a very delicate balance, and I was able to rise up to the position of a principal officer at the National Assembly. But that was not with, I did not compromise my official responsibility. I led my constituency, reached out to the needy, provided infrastructure through influence in the budget process. And at the end of the day, I had remarkable achievements to show for it. So, but the truth of the matter is that the African political system is such that it's still at its very rudimentary level, that ideas does not get people to where they are, but rather who they know and how much they can spend. And I think this is the bane of the political situation in Africa, and particularly in our country, Nigeria. And at the end of the day, with time, even people with great ideas, with vibrant articulation, are unable to actually do much and advance further on the political ladder, because at some point they must step on toes. And when they do step on those big toes, the lesson of their life, they will be taught. And I think that is the challenge. I think in my own case, I was lucky. I did struck that balance, but not without offending some along the line, because I had the opportunity to spend quite a relatively long time given our own situation in Africa. I spent 16 years in the legislature, both at the state and at the local and at the national level. For us in this country, it is almost a taboo to spend as much as that, Because the question, even the younger ones coming behind you will be asking, youth will be asking is that, why will it be only you to remain there while the younger ones are not coming? They forgot that dragging you down from that position you have attained will not automatically bring them in. But what you find is that because politics have almost become a means of livelihood, the younger generation coming behind are unable to maintain some degree of loyalty that will get them into the system. So what you find is that they begin to pluck down even those who were in a position to assist them grow within the political system. But by and large, what has remained worrisome is that governance in Africa has not been able to deliver on the ideas of democracy, and that is lifting the country out of the economic, social, and political quagmire that it has found itself. Otherwise, people will not be keen to be part of the political process if they have economic activities that engages their attention and through which they can earn a living. And that will bring us to some of the issues I raised in the paper, talking about unemployment, talking about inadequate education, and so on and so forth. So for me, I had a success story for a period of time, but at the point I needed to get to the zenith of my career, when I ran for the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, it was no longer business as usual. The people had to conspire to stop me. And that is how far I have gone.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
I mean, you just ended your presentation now with a very strong point. And I'll quickly have to take you on that. And please, guys, if you have any question or any comment as we proceed, just raise your hands, and then I'll recognize you. Sir, you highlighted how you have succeeded through, and you mentioned how loyalty and understanding has helped you, and also not going at loggerheads with them and confronting them heads on. The leaders, I'm talking about the leaders now who've been there, you used some form of strategy and understanding, to work. And as soon as you got into the position you wanted to be at, you were able to help your people, because that was primarily why you actually went into politics. So you got there, you did what you do for the people, you wanted to grow. But then at the end, you said, when you wanted to move to the zenith of your career, there was conspiracy. From what we, the younger generation, have observed right now, we have seen that these conspiracies are already very visible. I mean, there's this mind now, there's this, from the leaders and from the elders, they have this, what I call it, fear, or this sensitivity, that when the younger ones come now, they're actually after us. So from the very moment of you trying to want to contest for a position, this conspiracy is already working against you. How would you advise us to navigate through this conspiracy? I know a couple of young people from across Africa who have actually contested for various positions, but this conspiracy has always worked against them. And not because they're not loyal, not because they are not partisan, not because they are not, they don't have good interest for the people, but just because of the fear of the unknown by those that are already in power and the leaders, So how do we navigate through this? Because there's this outcry in Africa that says, oh, revolution, revolution, revolution. Do you think that's the way?
Well, it is true that the conspiracy is very loud these days, and the interest in the political space has also been heightened to a level that it never was. You know, as we democratize every 4 years, those who never showed interest in politics will begin to come out from their corner, because power, the search for power, the quest for power is something that is inherent in everybody. And that is why Aristotle said that every human being is a political animal. Now, for the African political situation, what we have is a regime of those who have held the system for a very long time, holding on to state resources. And that is why it is only in Africa you can find a president spend 30 years, spend 40 years. And such a president has closed the political space, except to those he wants to open it for. So that has actually led to the call for revolution. But now the question again is this: what is the cost of revolution to a nation or to a country or to a community? I will advocate engagement, constant engagement, rather than revolution, because the sinews of war does not benefit the mass of the people. It's like when they say when two elephants fight, it is the grasses that suffer. It is the mass of the people that suffers hunger, starvation, want, even death. So those holding the reins of power can always use the state resources to hibernate and sometimes be on top of the situation, run out of their country, find a way to get foreign powers to bring them back. At the end of the day, their clique and their cabal continue to hold sway to decide the future of the nation, even after the war. So what I believe is what Martin Luther Kings have advocated in non-violent engagement and confrontation with various governments in our countries, in our respective countries. It may take some time, it's like truth, but one day it will work. Because we can't take government by force. That will amount to treasonable felony in a democratic system. So we can only do this by organizing ourselves and constantly engaging the various regimes of various African countries. And that is why a forum of this nature is important for constant engagement, not only in within the African continent, but using it as a platform to reach out to other advanced democracies, you know, to put pressure on regimes that have become sit-tight and has closed the political space. So, in one word, my answer to your question is the strategy is constant engagement without getting tired by the young population of African countries.
Thank you very much, sir. There's this.
Thank you.
There's a saying I love it because I have conversations like this every now and then, and it's my belief that conversation is the place of action, and I agree with you. So I'll just, there's a hand I see up there. Botumelo, please, may you just unmute and ask your question and make your contribution.
Okay, my question to Honorable Osaki is that he did mention that Africa is not the Africa it used to be. And we as young people should strive for a change and rather not find problems but solutions. So my question is, what do we do as young people? Is the solution opening new political parties as young people to bring the change we want to see? And will that help us as young people to now bring out the government, the ruling government that we have, that has greedy politicians that are now laundering all sorts of funds for young people to nurture themselves and grow themselves. So do we now also run to the same politics so we can demolish the greedy government and politicians? Or do we say we are coming together as young African people to come up with solutions? That's my question.
Okay. So we need
Thank you, Busmelo, if I got your name correctly. I think that a political party has the objective of capturing power and running the affairs of a state. And if young people were to be in consensus across Africa as to how to bring about change in our country, in our various countries, I think the young population of African country, numbering about 60 million, will make sufficient impact in every country. For example, in our country, in Nigeria, the young population is well over 100 million. But the challenge there is that they are not able to agree. And the reason is that many of them still find it difficult to understand the reason why they should rise up to the challenge and bring about the needed changes that is required in Africa governance through their participation in the political process, through electioneering process, and through canvassing of better political manifestos and ideas with those that are able and are in a position to implement those ideas so that they can vote them into power. And I tell you the reason why. It may interest you to note from experience that it is not only the older politicians that are greedy. We also have greedy African youths who will sacrifice the political future of their community, of their state, of their country for a pot of porridge. It is not uncommon during elections to find young men running from one political party to the other, from one politician to the other, just to extort money. Because they have, some of them seem to have this belief that it is none of their business. It is what they can make during electioneering that matters. And that takes me to the greatest challenge of lack of education. When I mean lack of education, I'm not just talking about formal education, refusal to go to school, or the non-availability of quality education. That's not what I'm talking about. Lack of understanding of the place of government in the life of a nation, and invariably in the life of the individuals. So what the younger politicians, what the younger African youths need to do, younger people of Africa need to do, is to embark on enlightenment and education of their peers across the African continent, for them to understand that the decision they take, the step they take during electioneering is important and tangential to their economic, social, and political future. So they shouldn't just take money during elections and then look away. After elections, they are crying that the politicians are not doing well. No, like someone once said, those who collect money from failed politicians to vote them into power cannot regard themselves as victims of a warped political process. They are accomplices in enthroning a political regime that have come to impoverish the entire populace. So apart from joining political parties, participating in the political process, the African young people need to educate themselves, understand the very basis of having a government that is for the people, of the people, and by the people, rather than sell their rights for a pot of porridge during electioneering and thereby fritter away their God-given inherent powers and rights to change the government. that they so much complain about. I hope I make myself clear.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
I went through quickly. I just quickly skimmed through your script.
Yes,
but Chumelo, did you get your response?
Yes, I did.
Or is your hand, up again?
Yes, it is.
Chumelo, just tell me what your response.
Yes, I did. I got my response.
Follow-up question on that before I move to the.
Yes, I do.
Okay. All right, please just move on to your follow-up question, and then I'll recognize that I see other hands up quickly. Your follow-up question.
Okay. My follow-up question to Mr. Osaki is that you did mention that we have a lack of knowledge as African youth. But now my question to you is, what's your view on Africa reuniting in South Africa when we have so many Africans coming to seek refuge in South Africa for better lives because they leave their countries due to the very same reasons we are discussing of not having economical freedom and not having access to better living? What is your view on young people who come in South Africa? And we can't ignore the fact that they do all sorts of things to try get a living for themselves. And then when you get to South Africa as a country, we have young citizens in South Africa that are now ignorant, lack knowledge, and that spews hate, and it starts all sorts of tribalism and xenophobic attacks. So what is your take and what is your view on this whole issue of young people spewing hate towards other young Africans that come and seek refuge in South Africa? And my last question is, what is your take on white media that is always portraying Africans as bad people, if I might put it that way? What is your take on white media always portraying Black Africans as people who are problematic, people who have no sense of direction and no sense of solution? What's your take on it, portraying Africans as the problem? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Botumelo. Two nice questions you have asked there. My view on the young people who come into South Africa to make a living and commit all sorts of crimes and so on and so forth. The truth of the matter is that there can be no justification for the commission of a crime anywhere in the world. And if the spirit of African unity is anything to go by, particularly the Organization of African Unity, which has translated into African Union, you know, the main purpose, the underlying purpose of that coming together of African countries was to ensure that there is measure of unity, there's measure of collaboration on all fronts, cooperation on all fronts, and easy movement and access to each other's country in order to support each other's citizens and ensure that there is peer review among the government of the continent in order to reach that level that can be regarded as a developed continent. Now, whoever from wherever come into South Africa or into any country in Africa for that matter to commit an offense, the laws of South Africa or that such country must take its course. But what I don't subscribe to is the hatred that some South Africans, you know, display towards other Africans that come to their country that has led to several xenophobic attacks and killings of Africans who come to seek refuge in that country. There is no basis whatsoever. If a young man is doing a legitimate job in Durban or in Cape Town or in Johannesburg, the fact that he is successful in the job he's doing should not elicit hate from his South Africa citizen as to, you know, lead to his attack or sometimes to his being killed. Those who commit crime, the law must be able to separate those who commit crime and those who carry on legitimate business. After all, we also have South Africans who are also carrying out business in other parts of African countries. MTN is a major telecommunication company owned by South Africa, and is doing business in Nigeria and in so many places across Africa. So there are those doing legitimate business. The law must separate it. Law enforcement agents must be able to separate that. What we need to educate ourselves about is that as African young people, we need to have unity in understanding that we must engage our respective governments. If South African youths are in solidarity with Nigerian youths over misgovernance in Nigeria, it helps those Nigerian youths that have left South Africa, that have left their country to South Africa, more in pushing their case to the Nigerian government for a change of attitude. But if they are being killed, they are being slaughtered, they are being murdered on account of the fact that they merely came to seek refuge and some of them have not committed crime, then it doesn't talk about the much needed unity among African young people. The point that I'm trying to make is that responsible African young people must educate the less responsible in our midst to understand that the various governments of our countries in the continent of Africa must be engaged. And in doing this engagement, that engagement cannot be left to the youths of that country alone. If there is collaboration, as we have in this forum now, One Africa Forum, then you can be a voice supporting the indigenous youths of various countries to engage their government. Killing them in your country or attacking them for coming to Eke living because the economic condition in their country does not permit them, it's not the way to go. I give you a practical example because there is no condition that is permanent. In the 70s, we drove away Ghanaians from Nigeria and they started buying this bako bag they call, which we are now referring to as Ghana Must Go. But today it's coming back to us. Nigerians are also being driven from Ghana now. So the truth of the matter is that developments, economic, political, and social development are a constantly changing phenomenon. It does not come to you and stay. Your country may be better today, but with good governance, another country can overtake it. And that is why you see China, rubbing shoulders with America today, and Russia, Japan. So no condition is permanent. What we need to do is that as African young people, we must elevate our thoughts and our action above sentiments, above pettiness, to look at the greater picture of having an African continent where all the nations are being governed with ideas and not with the rule of thumb as we currently have of most of the leaders. Of course, Rwanda is already out of the box because the trajectory Rwanda is taking through now with the kind of development that is going on and the kind of revolution, economic revolution going on there after they suffer a huge Holocaust, has made Rwanda to be an center of modern economic and technological development that other African countries can emulate. So if that is going to be our model, if that is going to be our signpost, African countries can indeed advance to such a level. I mean, African youths can come together to use those things which will unite us rather than look at issues that divide us. Those who commit crime should face the law in the respective countries where the crimes are committed.
Thank you very much, sir. And okay, quickly, I'll just turn to the next person who is raising their hand. See, oh, okay, we have quite a number of them now. Okay, so I saw, just give me a second. Okay, yeah. Riabetswe, could you please just unmute and yeah, just unmute and take your question.
Okay.
Sir, we'll take that question. I'll take one more question so you can take the two questions together. And yeah, we'll proceed. Yes, please.
Okay, so my question is, you spoke about being loyal and young people wanting to come and sort of overthrow the older people and not being loyal to the people who have helped you to get to where you are. I just want to ask, how do we now differentiate between loyalty and loyalty bordering on corruption? Because I'm thinking of a situation wherein you, an older person has helped you to get to where you are, but the sort of things that they want you to do would sort of border on corruption. So they might want favors done by you because they've put you there. They might want you to sort of try and influence things the way that they would want them to go, and not necessarily in the best interest of the country. So how then do you remain loyal to the people who've put you there without being corrupt? And how do you differentiate between that thin line of loyalty and corruption?
Okay. Okay, please just note that one, and I'll quickly take, I saw another hand earlier. I'll just quickly take I don't know where you're from, but iPhone, please, will you ask your question? Quickly. Yes.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Mr. Samson. I'm so excited and have to go direct to my point. Personally, I'm from South Sudan. My question is about the issue that you raised, that once you enter political arena as a young African youth, you do not focus on paying your attention of trying to change the ideologies of the old regime, which are the old people, but you focus more of trying to advance yourself to the next levels. My question is that when you don't want to change the policies of the old people or the old regime who are trying to demolish the youth that are down in the society, and you as a part of the youth, are you fighting for youth that they should engage more into the political arena, or are you trying to tell the youth that no, we should not change the old system, but what we should do is that we should just accept whatever the old system is trying to say?
Okay. I think those two questions are quite similar. So I'll just let you take on that one. And I see two other hands there. I'll come back to the two, Mr. Jonas and Mr. Evans. I'll come to you right after we attend to this question. Yes, sir. Please, sir.
Well, what I said, I want you to get me clearly. You asked me, how did I manage to get that far? And I told you part of my strategy was not to engage in confrontation with the older folks. It didn't mean that we didn't have any disagreement. It does not mean that we didn't have any disagreement from time to time. But what I said is that, in the political process, there are a lot of stages. There are those who are in charge of the party formation and party administration. These are those that decides who gets what party ticket in the absence of an independent candidate system of election, contesting elections. Now, my strategy that I told you about was that I never tried to unnecessarily have confrontation with them in order to be able to find a space in governance and make my impact. You must distinguish between the political party that brings the government into place and the government that has been brought into place. I hope I make myself clear. Now, my own was engage the people who run the party in a manner to secure their confidence, while at the same time getting myself involved in making laws that can change the society. Because constant fighting with them to change their views will not help anybody. Laws are made to change a society, and that is why Roscoe Pan said law is an instrument of social engineering. So my own strategy was not just to advance myself, was to participate in the lawmaking process, which was my primary responsibility, to change the society, to change the system, to make electoral laws that make things easier for young people to participate in governance, to make appropriation laws that brings water to every community, to make budgets that ensure that there are good roads in many areas, That was my major focus. And that is the point I have sufficiently made. I did not say, oh, I had to just allow them to do whatever they like, provided I advance in my career. No, I just told you that I couldn't engage in a fight with the political class that decides what happened at the political party level and then at the governance level. I was in constant conflict with the governor of my state. And I was in constant conflict with the president of my country. All the time I said in the national and in the state assembly. So my own strategy was to concentrate on my job and then make laws that can change the system. And I did succeed in making those impacts. And the records are there for those who would like to do. If you Google my name in the 6th and 7th National Assembly, you will see a number of issues that I advanced when I was a member of the National Assembly. So there are two different things which you must understand. They are not just the same. I'm not talking of those in government. I was having constant conflict because we need to change the way we govern our society. It is the government that deals on the welfare and the well-being of the people. So for me, I was ready to engage them and I constantly engaged them. But the truth is that before you get to government, you have to pass through a non-governmental political process to get you there. And those who are in charge of this non-governmental political process are usually older political folks that have had many years of experience participating in party administration, party formation, and so on and so forth. They are not in government. That is the point I tried to make. Then the other question which I didn't quite answer when this lady asked me was about the Western media. Yeah. The Western media have consistently been used against us as an instrument of neo-colonialism. I mean, what do you expect if we on our own are not able to do things that are right in such a way as to perceive us in good light? So the Western media takes advantage of it to give the impression to the entire world that these are a people that cannot govern themselves and to constantly put themselves at the level they have reached as more superior economies and more superior democracies. It is in their own self-interest to do so that they can continue to remain our overlords. After all, we run to them for grants in aid. We run to them for loans. So whatever pictured story they write of us, if we are unable to put ourselves together to write the true stories, not necessarily by advocacy, but by a governance model that shows that we know what we are doing, then they continue to use their media against us. And media is a very powerful tool in international politics. So why I do not subscribe to Western media's portraying us as bad and difficult people, I also blame ourselves for not having been able to organize our continent, organize ourselves in a more civilized, in a more democratic, in a more matured, in a more developed manner, so that we can also be a source, a model for them to copy.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. I think I want to know, Riabetsoe, please let us know if your question was answered well. I mean, you can just type it and then I'll come back to you if that is it. But Chimelo, please also get ready to help us read through some of the messages we have on our chat. But for now, Mr. Evans, may we have your question, please?
Yeah, so thank you, Mr. Host. Thank you very much. My question was, we are speaking about, leadership, political leadership, and other. My question is, does the youths of Africa, the African youth, are we expecting too much from these political leaders? Our expectation too much for them because during election we promised we can do this, we can do that. They raise your hopes, tell you things that the economy is thriving, and then go out about their propaganda and all those stuff. But when they get into power, then the story changes. So my question I want to ask is the African youth expecting too much from the political leaders, or are we relying too much on them to change affairs of the continent? And what's the best way we can go about it, if you want to reduce that expectation? Because most of our expectations have been, that we had been disappointed every change in government. So what's the way forward? What's the way forward if we want to reduce our expectation and then move into reality and then just see the way forward? Because relying on these political people to change our affairs is not really bringing anything to the African youth. Right. So that's my question. Thank you.
So your question is, are we expecting too much from the political leaders?
Yes, please.
Mr. Titus, please. Mr. Titus.
Yes. Okay, my question is, what is it that is lacking with the youth, especially when it comes to, it is evident now that the youth are the enemies of the youth, especially when it comes into political electioneering period. We have seen that politicians are using youth. They are dividing youth to cause chaos, to cause conflicts, to cause wealth destruction and property destruction. What is it that is causing that the youth are the one that are used by the politicians to come to make chaos, to make everything that we see, especially in Africa? So I was trying to ask, what is it that is causing? What is it that is causing in the mindset of the youth? Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. So your question simply is, why do the youth always avail themselves as instruments of this destruction? And what is the tactics that the government or the leaders are using to keep the youth subject, to still keep the youth to remain in the position where they're always being used against themselves? Is that correct?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
All right, thank you. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Mr. Jonas, please, your question.
Okay, thank you so much. This is not a question. I believe we're supposed to have a symposium, so I don't know if I should go ahead.
Yeah, please, go ahead.
Great. So I am so excited for this forum because the questions that are coming from every African individual here is pointing us to what we want to talk about. We are saying that the focus of this discussion is to build right structures to sustain Africa. I don't believe that the right structures are only the economic or physical structures which we, the youth, are looking forward for. Because with the physical structures, the roads are being built, businesses are being set up, and you can find, if not all, out of 100 graduates, there are some who are getting jobs. So the structures are being implemented, but then it doesn't meet the needs of the entire youth. The problem here is that, yes, these politicians are doing their own little ways that they are doing. If we would answer the question ourselves that what will build the right structures, I will say that just listening to our keynote address from our panelist, he was there before as a youth. They've seen problems that we are describing today. He describes it as he faced the same thing. We will be surprised. Should we add 10 years to our ages with the young people here, we will also come and sit on a panel and discuss the same thing, that in our time, we had similar challenges. We went through this levels of change, and here we are telling the other younger people. The issue of the African challenge that we have today, it has become endemic in creating a system on itself. The corruption has created a system on itself. The poor has created a system on itself. The abandonment of the young people to be involved in developing our nation has become a system on itself. So the leaders not creating a moral vision, which comes as a result of the people having a mindset change, a heart to develop their own nation, regardless of the political party they are affiliated with. having an enlarged vision and insight into what we need to do. It's becoming a problem because if we continue to talk about this, every time the youth will talk about it, but we need to look at it is not only structure, that is physical structures that we should be talking about, but we should be talking about the education he is talking about is what I think is moral foundation that will create a new kind of system for Africa. Then any other person who is going from the young person who is going from the high school, young person who is growing up in even the younger ages will come and embrace a new system which begins with a moral vision, a foundation that is built on. Then the person will get up there to the top and will not face that problem. But if we're looking at structures as to road, economy, jobs, we would always come back to this kind of fora that Africa is having a challenge and will not solve it. I believe by the time we should end this, every one of us here who is a young person should rather point to the North Star that this is where Africa must go. And I'm a part of bringing that change that we need to get to. If I'm a part of it, then I have to get a mindset change myself, personally. What are the moral foundations I need to build up on? And I think I want to pause here.
Thank you very much. You made so important key points. And please, I hope you're noting them down because some of the points we are raising now will actually drive us to actually have our other panelists to make their points, because we have some wonderful young people who are doing great and doing very well in their different areas. And they have different organizations that are empowering young people. Some have organizations that are actually building social media to actually make sure that we have an independent social media platform in Africa. We have people that are doing very well, and they're all on this panel. And so as these questions come, I'm going to be picking on them one after the other, so that they can just make their contributions, towards in this whole conversation. But quickly, I'll just want to take on Samantha and take on Mr. Ishmael. So quickly, just ask their questions, and then I'll leave it to our keynote speaker to attend to all these questions, and then we'll start spreading it wide to the panelists. Yes, Samantha, please.
Thank you so much, and thank you to our panelists and to our keynote speaker. My question is, I asked it in the chat, but I don't know if it was adequately answered. How do we define the youth? I think the way we approach this issue also is the way in which someone who's not from Africa speaks about Africa as a monolith, as one country. Yet we know very well that our countries are completely different. We have different cultures, languages, ways of looking at society and living. And similarly, the youth are also different. We're not a monolith. We're different. We are experienced different impacts of our lives, our cultures, and our societies that impact the way in which we engage with sustainability, we engage with the economy, or even politics. So my question is, how do we start by defining the youth? Because I think from the definition comes strategic ways in which then we can look at solutions for the problems that we have been speaking about during this symposium. For instance, rural youth experience different things from urban youth. South African youth experience different things from youth in Kenya or youth in Nigeria. So I like how we started with talking about our contexts, because that helps in understanding the problem first and how the youth in those contexts are dealing with them. And I think we need to think of strategic ways in which we can separate the problems and think of solutions that target specific groups of youth. Because even youth, how do we define ourselves? Because sometimes a young girl of 20 who has 2 kids or who's married will not define herself as a youth, but we might see her as such. So how are we defining this term? I would really like this question answered if possible. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Who is the last person there? Mr. Ishmael, I see your question. Please just unmute yourself and ask your question, and that will be the last we'll take. And the question first.
Thank you, Ambassador Prince. Mine is not really a question. I'm looking at the last person who spoke, the lady. She asked what is the definition of youth? That is the central point. In the sense that how do youth themselves define themselves? How do we define our individual self in the current situation we find ourselves in? So I'll be happy if the speaker can elaborate more on the question our lady asked. What is the definition of youth in the current situation we are in? Is it, do we define youth as a person who is between the ages of, are we using the age to define youth? Are we using the education background to define youth? Are we using the socio-economic situation to define youth? What should be the cutting points we can use to define a youth?
Okay, thank you very much. So I'll leave it now for our keynote speaker, but then let me quickly put it out there just to be sure you're correct. Because if I went, like I said, I briefly went through the keynote address that I have shared in the chat for everyone to see, and I saw that he tried to define the youth. However, he defined it as the African Union or the United Nations defined the youth, and so on. So I believe that your question will be in our context, in a definition that works for us. How do we define the youth in a definition that works for us? So yes, over to you, sir. I'll leave it for you now, sir. Honorable sir.
Thank you very much. Yes, I'm with you now. A number of issues have been raised. Jonas made his point very clear, and I think I agree with him to a large extent on a number of areas that he has touched on. Like I said at the beginning, it's supposed to be a symposium, not just a question and answer section. But be that as it may, the two questions that the last four questions really, are we expecting too much from political leaders? What is lacking in the youths who are being used by the political leaders? How do we define the youths? The last two speakers actually dwell on this. And let me start on the last two. Now, if we are relying on the academic definition of who a youth is as between the age of 15 and 25, then we may not be able to make more progress in understanding the context within which to situate the young population of Africa. Otherwise, where do we draw the line? Even the United Nations definition of the youth cannot even suffice for the purpose of our own discussion and of the context in which we are looking at the issues. For example, the United Nations defined youth as people aged 15 and 24 years old. Now, what do we make of that? Of what help is that for us, considering the nature of the task that we are talking about? How many people within this age bracket are actually in a position in Africa to understand the issues of socioeconomic and political governance, and development? So those definitions can't help us. Rather, we look at the context in which we are finding ourselves, and then be able to understand that, look, as between those that govern us and then the middle class population of our great continent that have been left uncatered for, who should rise up to fill the gap or probably cause this engagement that we are talking about to happen, or even if it is revolution, which I don't advocate anyway. So I think that the youth population in Nigeria, we have a youth policy which recognizes up to 35 years as being a youthful age. There are some jurisdictions where youth has even been defined up to the age of 40. Like this lady said, Samantha, I agree that given our different cultural backgrounds, different orientations and all of that, we are not going to have a consensus as to who a youth is. to have a single definition for a youth in Africa. But we know those who are young people. Nobody can tell us the young population of Africa that have constituted well over 60% of the population of Africa. So this youth group or this young population will, for our purpose, have to constitute the youth group that we must regard as those capable of leading the change that we deserve and we desire in our continent. So, and our future will depend on them. When we begin to talk of the future leaders or the leaders of tomorrow, the future leaders of our respective countries and our continent, we are talking about this category of people, not just people between the ages of 15 and 24. So defining youth cannot have a consensus among those of us who are here today, or even amongst global leaders and global players. Then what is lacking in the youth that they are now the ones that are actually being used to carry out most of the things that are negative in our society? That is the issue I raised earlier. There is pervasive poverty occasioned by bad governance. And of course, when there's poverty and there's no provision for education, like in Nigeria today, the entire northeast of Nigeria, and of course, northern part of Nigeria, have been under siege of the Boko Haram insurgency in the last almost 10 years. And today, the entire country is almost being engulfed by one form of criminality or the other. Who are the people involved? These are the young population that did not get formal education when they should have it at the early stage, whose culture prevented them from going to school, whose government did not take into account that these people can turn to be menace tomorrow. As they were growing up in their teenage days, they were sent to escort cows across the length and breadth of the country. So they know nothing other than that rudimentary lifestyle of being of escorting cow, because as time goes on, threat to their business led them into carrying guns in order to protect their cows. People were involved in cattle rustling and all the rest. So they felt that, okay, the only way they can protect their cattle while they are grazing is to also carry guns. And that has led from one thing to the other. And that was fueled by religious extremism. So an uneducated mind is a fertile ground for all sorts of negativities. You are not able to distinguish between what is right and what is wrong, what is ideal and what is not ideal. And so if we are not able to emancipate ourselves from the mental slavery that we have been subjected to as a result of lack of education, then what you are going to have at the end of the day is a people that are going to be involved in all sorts of criminalities, and they will not even know the consequences. So when you ask, why are the youth like this? Yes, poverty and lack of education. And these have been occasioned by bad governance. So the African youths, the African young people who are educated, what should be their challenge in every law? Their challenge should be to organize them and enlighten their fellow youths. They may not have the resources to start giving the services that government should give, but the campaign must be strong. When Martin Luther King Jr. mounted the rostrum in the United States to free the Black people from slavery of all sorts, from subjugation, discrimination, he didn't have a lot of work to do that. So we need a militant African youth that will not be involved in crime, but will be militant in advancing the cause of a new Africa that we want. In my paper, you will discover where I made reference to Agenda 2063, which is the recent which our leaders have evolved. And interestingly, the place of the youths, the women and the children are also encapsulated. So how do we key in as African young people to leverage on it and begin a movement that we engage various African nations Because if we continue to speak and talk from morning to night without organizing, without taking action in our respective countries, then we are not doing anything. Because we are also going to be confronted by a set of youths who do not believe in what you are doing. Our responsibility should be to continue to engage and discuss as we are doing and enlighten those who should know and find a way around it using models that have succeeded in several degrees in Africa. Because of course, all African countries are not at the same level of development in terms of economic and social political development. They are not at the same level. But generally, the continent is at its lowest ebb compared to other continents of the world. So I thought I should also make that clear. Whether we are expecting too much, yes, we are expecting too much. Do you know what? Even the youth population that have opportunity to even serve in government and in political positions are swallowed by the endemic systemic decay that has occurred. We have youth governors in Nigeria. We have governors we have people that have become governor in their early 40s, sometimes in their late 30s. They are not making any difference. It is because the system has been decayed and there is a systemic problem within the system. And even some of these youth may even be worse than some of the ones we are talking about because their own worldviews are quite different. So it's a very big challenge and it's a big task that we are setting out to do. It's not one that we should be, that there should be a blame game, but it is one we continue to engage ourselves and understand. Sometimes if you don't even have opportunity of coming into the system, you won't understand it. Somebody asked one question, whether if we have 10 years now, some of us going to government and come out, are we not going to be asking, I think that was Jonas who made this point, are we not going to be asking ourselves in our time, we couldn't make impact because of this problem, because of this problem? Yes, it is more likely to be so. If I look back 20 years ago, when I started, I did not believe that my country would still remain where it is as of today. Because at the dawn of the Fourth Republic in Nigeria, it came with great hope and aspiration for the people. But the truth of the matter is that a lot has not been achieved and the country appears to be worse off. What is the cause? We all share the collective blame, one way or the other. Whether we spoke, whether we engaged, whether we did what we should do as an individual, as individuals within the system during the time we serve, it does not now matter. What matters is that overall, there have been no positive changes, that would have given a different result as we speak today. So I think for now, those are my reactions to the various questions and points that have been made. If I'm not able to satisfy your thing, but this is a discussion, it's not supposed to be a question and answer. I also want to learn from you, like Jonas made his own point too.
Exactly. Thank you very much. And I want to appreciate Mr. Jonas again for your precise and your educative remarks. And thank you very much, Honorable Samson. I want to quickly pick on one of the young people doing some great work in Africa. We have, there's David Aquara is here. Please just unmute Mr. David Aquara. I just want to leave it for you. Tell us, what is it that you're doing to project the image of Africa through the African Continental Free Trade Agreement? We see you in a couple of documentaries around and you're doing these things. And what are the opportunities that are there in the African Continental Free Trade Agreement that you believe that young people should tap into? Yes, Mr. David.
Hi, everyone. I've been listening to, can anybody hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, please.
Yes, I've been listening to everything that we've been saying, and I must say I've been learning. And generally, it has been a good and awesome time to be here. So
I can't hear you. I don't know if it's just me.
We can't hear him. His network is fluctuating.
Mr. David, please come back again. I couldn't hear you.
Mr.
David? Hello, Mr. David? Okay, while we wait for Mr. David, I also have, we have Comrade Sivanos. Comrade Sivanos, I don't know, are you still here with us? He actually
Yes, I'm
is
here.
one of our, yeah, he's one of our panelists. I'd like you to just, quickly just tell us some of the things that you think we as young people need to really tap into, particularly when it comes to terms of leadership and the structure, the structure that Africans actually is failing to realize. As one of the you're a lawyer, and as we said, you are Comrade Sivanos Okwe. You're a lawyer, and you're also doing very well in your field. So I'd like you to tell us certain things about what you once mentioned to me as neo-colonialism and how Africans can liberate their minds and align with the right structures, in order to sustain Africa. Quickly, sir.
Well, thank you for this opportunity. I have patiently listened to everybody, especially the keynote speaker, who spoke exhaustively on this topic. And I will say that this is a privilege to be on this forum, an assemblage of great minds charting the way forward for a more prosperous, united, and self-reliant Africa. Well, when we talk about the right structures for a sustainable Africa, we refer to institutions, building robust institutions that will sustain the continent. And when you talk of sustainability, you refer to the future. Will future Africans proudly identify with the continent? What are the right measures we must put in place to make future Africans enjoy the continent and enjoy some of the benefits we have been unable to tap into? Then one of the things we must consider, there are institutions of religious tolerance. Because one thing that has continued to militate against effective growth and development of the continent is insecurity. And when you look at the insecurity and its major causes, crisis, you talk of religious tolerance, institution of tribal harmony, institutions when civil service is anchored on merit, when there are opportunities for the many potentials to be languishing potentials in Africa to be tapped. And we talk of institutions that will encourage the establishment of industries that will absorb the countless number of African youths who are being churned out yearly and who are ready to contribute their quota for the betterment of the society. And then when we talk about neo-colonialism, it is no longer news. I wrote in my book, Africa Without.
Oh no, we're losing you.
Politics.
I don't know.
Destiny of. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you. Please proceed, sir.
Okay. Now, the continuous interest in African face.
We are struggling to connect with you. I don't think it's me. I think, can every other person hear me? So I think it's your network.
From the West. Can you hear me?
Yeah, it's coming intermittently, so we're struggling. It's going on and off.
Sorry for that. So now we are talking about neo-colonialism. I call it continuous indirect colonization of the African continent. African continents, we have on paper gotten our independence, but we have continued to dance to the whims and caprices of some superpowers. And until the youths continue to devise new methods of enduring quality Pan-Africans that are bold enough to resist these temptations of surrendering our resources, surrendering our sovereignty to some superpowers. We will never have an Africa where institutions will be strong enough to cater for the needs of Africans until the leadership place Africa on the center, Africans on the center of our needs, on the center of whatever we are producing on the continent. We will not have a robust continent. Take, for instance, the projected population implosion in Africa by the World Economic Forum. By 2100, Africa is estimated to be the most populated continent in the world. And Nigeria as a country is estimated to be the second largest country in population, only following India. And we have not had the visionary leadership that is putting the right institutions in place for this population implosion to be curtailed. Because with the limited amenities, with the limited infrastructure on ground in Africa, this population implosion will cause a stretch on the limited amenities, which will make it impossible for Africa to be able to sustain during the population implosion. And we are advising that until viable, virile foundations are being laid today by visionary leaders to ensure that when the population finally blossoms, Africa will be able to not go, extinct. Because when the population comes with the limited resources and limited amenities, we will see the highest migration from the African continent by the middle class and by the educated Africans. And when these persons who are supposed to contribute to the growth, who are supposed to devise solutions for the problems of the continent, are being chased away from the continent because of lack of conducive environment to experiment what they have learned, then it becomes a problem for the continent. And we must, again, imbibe the culture of doing away with inferiority complex. Africans are not second-class citizens. We must begin to reassert our rights on the continental map. Africans must be, we are not lazy. We have the potentials. We have the agility to survive under any atmosphere. And all we are asking for is a little conducive atmosphere that will allow us to demonstrate what we have. And our leaders must begin to realize that Africa is our only continent. And until we do our best to make Africa a home for all, where we will blossom and grow, the future Africans will be disappointed in the current generation. They will not bask in pride when they remember how their progenitors ruined the continent. So we must start putting these features in place to ensure that future Africans proudly identify with us when the time comes. Thank you.
Thank you, Comrade Sylvanus. You have really spoken well, but please just hang around because there's going to be a lot of questions that will be coming your way from the very deep things that you have said. And actually, as a matter of fact, you said you highlighted a couple of ways in your book, Africa Without Borders. And yeah, we'll come back to that, and just be ready. Our guests are here. Please, guys, if you have any question, just raise your hands, or as well as you can also type it in the group, but just you can raise your hand so you can have the time to actually speak out if you want to speak. Yes, we have again David Aquara. I had called on him earlier and his network was not really good. So we have David Aquara. Please, sir, the floor is yours. So tell us, like I said, what are you doing at the African Continental Free Trade Agreement? And I see you're making a lot of documentaries to promote the African Continental Free Trade Agreement. Tell me what is in there and what do you think that Africans need and young Africans need and to tap into in that sector and now opportunity.
Okay, thank you so much. I'm sorry for the network disconnection. So I was saying that for a very long time, we've had people tell our stories, even till date. I mean, no disrespect to BBC, but I feel that BBC tells our story even more than we tell our story. So having a background in filmmaking as a filmmaker, and then having a very strong passion for Africa, we decided as a team that we want to be part of those who will tell the story of Africa. And if African Continental Free Trade Area will be true to the document that was written and was signed by the president, and when fully implemented, it should alleviate poverty from Africa. And in the long run, unite us as one people. Because when we start trading in goods and services, we will be migrating legally. I would not go to South Africa and be feeling as though I am a foreigner, because South Africa signed up for the AfCFTA, right? So we said that we first want to start telling the story. People do not know about the AfCFTA. And if young people of Africa do not take responsibility, I mean, people who, let's say you are in the creative field like me, you don't take the responsibility to tell this story. Other people will tell the stories. And having traveled a few countries across Africa, I've realized that the African youth are ready. And some of the things that has been highlighted in this conference are the deficiency, the issues why they've not been able to live up. So first, we are creating awareness about the agreement. We want people to know about it, so that when you move around your country, you should be able to know that, oh, there's a legal binding that you can now do businesses with other countries, even if the implementation has not taken the forefront, because the agreement or the commencement of this agreement just started in January 1st this year, even if it has not taken the full implementation. But now people should be aware that there's something called a United African Market under the African Continental Free Trade Area. So we have decided to start telling stories about entrepreneurs and their journeys. And our focus has been women and youth, because we know that the African youth has the highest population. So if Africa is going to even become what is aspiring to become, the youth has to take front seats. That's why me as a young African, I decided, I want to tell stories with my camera. I want to start traveling from countries to countries as a young African. So my story can serve as an inspiration to other Africans that, we have to take, it's not in arrogance, but we have to take things by force. I mean, when it comes to the implementation, in terms of production of things that would be sell in other African countries, youth has to be actively involved. In terms of technology, to be able to even ease the trading within the continent, African youth has to be involved. If we are not involved, it will still be the same document that has been signed plenty years ago and was not completely or effectively put to work. So I'm saying that every African youth, we have to put our energies together. I like what all the speaker has been saying about, us coming together, stop the sentiment. I'm a Nigerian. When I come to your country, when I come to Ivory Coast, I should be treated as an African, right? I shouldn't be treated as a foreigner. I should be treated as your brother. I should be treated as your brother. And let's do business together. And let's grow the continent. The whole world is looking at us and expecting the AfCFTA to fail. So I'm encouraging every African youth, be part of it. In terms of services, be part. In terms of production, be part. Let's all canvas. If it means that we have to do cross-border, youth cross-border connection. So, okay, if I'm making XYZ in Ghana and you're making XYZ in Egypt, we'll be able to build some sort of synergy, so that as young Africans, we are able to connect and do businesses together. Because if this agreement will prosper, African youth has to be in the front seat. I'm not a businessman. I'm a filmmaker and a content creator, right? So I want to use my tool, my camera, my lights, my sound to tell your story as an entrepreneur, so that the whole world would see what you have and what you're able to deliver. I'll stop here, and as the conversation goes on, I'll be, dropping a couple of ideas that I have jotted down. But this is my response to the question that was asked.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you for your for the effort that you're making in trying to sell the story of Africa, and also in trying to ensure that we have a better narrative of Africa. I mean, it's just one of the points that was raised earlier was asked our guest speaker earlier, asking, I mean, why do we allow the white media to actually tell our stories, and why do they tell our stories that way? And here you are, you're saying that you're doing the best you can to ensure that you tell the African stories. Quickly, I'm going to quickly go to Teboho Mosito, but then I want to know, sir, do you have any comments on what has been said so far? Or I just quickly go to Teboho. Okay, I'm just picking on Teboho to see. I hope she's with us.
Hello.
Okay, fine. Thank you, Teboho. Yeah, Teboho is from South Africa. She would refer to herself from, I remember the last interview, she said she's a village girl. So Teboho, thank you very much. During the introduction, you said something about the opportunities that are lacking in rural areas, and you use South Africa to as an example. And from the conversations we have heard, we see that this is not just a problem peculiar to Africa, to South Africa alone. It's actually a problem that has flooded the entire continent. Now, as a woman, you have thrived so well in an industry that is largely dominated by men. You are in the mining and engineering sector, and that is phenomenal. And just tell us, as a young woman, how have you been able to thrive and succeed in a sector dominated by men, and what are the opportunities there that are available for young women to tap into?
Yeah, for me, it has been a really difficult journey, to tap into this mining industry. Just to reintroduce myself, my name is Teboho Mosito, and I'm from a rural village called Mayile in Rustenburg, in the northwest province of South Africa. And I'm one of the few women running a steel engineering business. We supply the mining industry with rolling stock, underground material cars, hoppers and chutes. We do rail maintenance, and we also manufacture conveyor structures. We do maintenance of conveyor walkways, and I really find it very difficult that, at this age, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. We're just getting some.
Yes,
feedback.
we do.
Please proceed, sir.
Okay, yes. I'm finding it difficult, that every time I go to these mining industries, I have to prove myself that as a woman, I can deliver the same quality as my male counterparts. And I'm just here today to inspire young people to say there's a lot of opportunities, especially in mining and engineering, especially for women. There's a lot of untapped, markets, and we need to share knowledge, to share ideas so that we can really have more young people entering this space of mining. Africa, is rich with a lot of resources, but we are selling our minerals to the world instead of us young people trying to find ways of how we can also be rich using our own minerals. Currently, I've been traveling a lot as a member of the International Women in Mining. I engage with women from Ghana, women from Kenya, and unfortunately in South Africa, there's no women who are doing artisanal mining, but I'm very interested in women in Kenya. They do gemstone mining and all that. But I'm trying to find ways of how we can collaborate and work, together, and just to build our economies as Africans.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, so thank you very much, Ma. And so that's it there for young women across Africa. That is an opportunity for you to tap into. She's open to collaborating with women across Africa, and that is actually one of those one of the purposes of this symposium, so that we can network, we can connect. Here is an offer, young women. If you are, you see her there. That's her right there. So.
Yeah, you see at the background there, I have employed female boiler makers. So I really encourage young women to, study all these, artisanal skills, boiler making, fitting and turning, electrical. We can do it. And there's a lot of opportunities for young people. I started with a zero balance. A lot of young people are looking for funding to start businesses. I started without money, but at the moment, I'm turning over millions and I'm creating a lot of job opportunities in my country. So yes, we are able, we need to grab these opportunities. And I see there's a lot of men here, so I feel intimidated. I would like to see more females.
Crazy.
Yeah, I would like to see more females in the next symposium. One of the challenges we face as women is that there's a lack of technology, and access to technology is a challenge. Some of the women are married and they don't get allowance to buy this technology that all of you men are having access to. So we really need to change the narrative and support women to be economically able to participate. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So there it is, guys. That's an opportunity, and that's a call from South Africa. You want to tap into this industry, you're doing it in your country, and you want to see. I mean, it's actually just aligns with the African Continental Free Trade Agreement, and that's what she's doing now. She wants to network and connect with as many people as possible who are in that industry, who are desiring to go into that sector. But remember what she said: you have to be good. So I will come back to you, Ma. We'll come back to you, Tiboho. Just a quick one. There is a young man in Cameroon who is also doing amazingly well. And I mean, you said you're intimidated by the men. I mean, that's entirely not my fault, because I tried to reach out to the lady in the organization, and then the lady referred a guy to me in the organization. So, so that's entirely not my fault. So, so Mr. Samuel, tell us, what are you doing in Cameroon, and what are the opportunities that are there? I see you're working a lot, so much with the younger people there, and the organization is doing so well. So tell me, what's happening?
Okay, apologies for the background. It's raining over here, so that's why it's not. Okay, well, I'm here representing Ndoletize, and the founder, I mean, the one that got that idea is actually a female. I don't know why she's not around here. Maybe she's a little bit busy, because we have a project under discussion. So as you know, Cameroon is a lower middle income country, and there's a lot of poverty has been increasing for the past years. So, and we have noticed that around 56%, according to recent studies, that 50% of the poor population were living in the northern regions of the country, the East region, the North region, the far north, and the Adamawa. So we have now decided to concentrate all our effort there. So when she came out with the idea of Dolce, I said, okay, I'm going to support you. And I came with my expertise as a digital marketing expert. So we go online, we share everything that we do every day in order to show people what we are capable of, because we started from zero. So we needed money, in order to have some money to carry out our charity activity. We started marketing local products, honey shea butter, neem oil, and then with the profits made from sales, the profit to carry out our various charity projects. And that's why we have two branches. We have Ndole Tio, who is in charge of the marketing aspect of our project. And we have Ndole Care, who is really the humanitarian aspect of our project. And that girl is really, really, because at first, I myself, I was really a little bit skeptical because, well, this industry, I mean, a little bit, skeptical, a little afraid. A lot of organizations have been lying to them, what they do. So we had to reassure them that we are really serious and that we really want to realize. We had this project, Women Empowerment Project, that we carry out last year. We selected 6 women in the far north. Cameroon is facing a crisis over there with Boko Haram. So that area, women have really select women, and the small profit we had, we help them to, we give them small allowances to boost their business. And for some of those we help them because their husbands were killed, the children were kidnapped, and they were just on their own. And it's really a risk because they need that support. Not maybe, those robbers, they have a way of attracting people, promising them things so that they could join them. So with that product, we have been helping those women to start, and these 6 women, in these 6 women, 4 1 year from now. So
your network is very poor. We're struggling to.
And apart from that,
the network is poor. It's
my network is poor. Sorry. Oh my God. Video.
Yeah, while we quickly reconnect you on that, I just want to quickly pick on Mr. Ishmael. Mr. Ishmael, you're in Ghana, and you're doing such a good job in Ghana with younger people. I mean, you asked one of the questions earlier regarding the youth and how we define youth and how we describe youth. We're one of those who actually emphasize the point that was raised by Samantha. So tell me, what is it you're doing in Ghana? And what are you doing to help the younger people? And as well as what are the opportunities that are there for younger people to tap into? I mean, we just don't want to be seeing problems. We also want to be seeing opportunities. And we also want to be able to, climb on the ladder. So tell me, what's that?
Okay, thank you for the opportunity. My name is Ishmael Beifi Boatin. I'm a trained journalist and a youth activist and the executive director for the Baby Foundation. As you said, yes, in Ghana, a lot of things are going on. Young people are actively involved in decision making. You go across the country, you see a lot of young people on the ground doing 1 or 2 things to help the young people. But the bottom line is, one of the participants raised an issue, the mindset of the young people. And I asked the question, how do we define youth? We understand the youth is the young child who is starting to understand life, because all of us here, all of us on this platform, we have made up our mindsets. We have grown up. We have gone through the system. The system has strengthened us. The system has weakened us. The system has done all what it can do to us. But the young one at the age of 2 is now coming up to get into the system. So what is the mindset we are giving to the young one from the age of 2 climbing up? What picture are we painting to that young person? For us, we see that young person as a youth because they are the people who rise up through the education system, the social system, the political system, and take up from the generation. So when you come to Ghana here, a lot of young people are engaged by stakeholders like international organizations, UNFPA, World Vision, Care International, name it. When you get to the rural areas, you see a lot of projects going on. But most of the projects in Ghana here are much centered on young people at the grassroots. Why? Because we believe that these are the people who need the opportunities. In the sense that we have young people in the urban cities who have gotten opportunities. But the question is, are they utilizing it? A lot of young people are given opportunities, but do we utilize it to benefit our fellow young person? Get to the system we are running across Africa. You see a lot of young people holding positions. But the question is, the position the young person is holding, is the position benefiting a young person who is coming up? Is that young person mentoring another young person in the right direction? So all what we are discussing, how best can young people rise up to the task and change the continent Africa? It starts with us, we the young people. Whatever we want to engage ourselves in, the first question we should ask ourselves is it going to be a benefit to the younger generation coming after me? Or it is going to be a benefit to I, myself, and my family only? If individually we are able to answer this question positively, that whatever we are doing, it is in the best interest of the younger generation coming, at least I believe that the continent will be safe for us all to work and see the development we are talking about. And all these things also boils down to our education system. Our education system is choked in the sense that we go to schools, you see the courses being offered in the universities. The question I ask myself, someone go to a university of science and technology to study mechanical engineering. The person graduates. You put the person on the field to practice what he has taught. Honestly, it will become a tug of war. The person will not be able to translate what he or she has learned in the classroom to the social life, the opportunities you have given to them. So there is a big gap between the young people and our education system. Because what we study in our education system is not really equipping the young people to take up the challenges. Because you have a lot of young people who have graduated with first class upper, second class upper, namely, they are good. Their academic performance is very good. But if you should give them the practicability of what they have studied, it becomes a problem. Why? Because our education system is full of theoretical system, but not practical system. So if we really want Africa to move on, it is time we rally around our education system. How best can our education system be practical based for the young people that when I graduate, I'm not looking at the central government to give me employment. I can generate employment by identifying other young people who have the same like ideas I am looking at. The first speaker who came before me, he said the idea was for a woman, a young lady. A young lady approached him. This is what I want to do. He bought into the idea. He brought on board his expertise. So if young people can be equipped with the knowledge practically, it will go a long way to help the African continent. In the sense that as I was elaborating, if whatever we are learning in the various universities or schools is practical based, when I graduate, I'm not expecting opportunities in the government sector or in the private sector or anywhere. At least I have colleagues I graduated with. school is a system we socialize. So at least you will get opportunity to interact with your mates who share the same ideology or business ideas you have. Team up with your fellow young people who have the like-minded ideas you have. It's not necessary to be in the same field. You can identify a young person who is good in accounting, practically, who is good in managing human resources, who is good in the other aspects. Put your heads together. Yes, one will talk of funding, financial funding of such ideas. Yes, money plays a critical role in whatever we want to do. But I have come to realize in my 14 years in youth activism that it's not all about money. It's about the spirit, the dedication, and the teamwork of the team players. Because if there's dedication, there's commitment. Every team member can be a financial pool resource person to put money into whatever the team have decided to do. In the sense that if you have a like-minded people who shares into idea, by all means you will get one or two persons financially can hold on to the team to grow. So I believe that we the young people have a bigger task ahead of us, in the sense that we have to really redefine ourselves. We are talking our leaders are feeling as our doing. But the young people ourselves, we are also feeling our own selves. We are also part of the problem we are here discussing. Because, as I said earlier on, young people are in key positions that they can escalate that position they are having to the benefit of other young people. But trust me, you go to them, they'll tell you, oh, really, let's see what we can do. Let's see what we can do. In that case, we frustrate our fellow young people. And that is why the elderly people find it difficult to give young people the opportunities, because they come to realize that when you give young people the opportunity, as our guest speaker says, some of the young people are greedy. They are selfish. They are self-centered young people. So instead of he taking it down to the grassroots, to rather center it around himself. When it comes to what we are doing now, in what we are doing, when you get to countries, there are NGOs in those countries who seek for funding from international organizations. But let's ask ourselves, how many NGOs use those funding for the benefit of young people? They use the young people to seek for funding. But at the end of the day, how much of that funding goes down to the integral people why the funding was given? So all what we are discussing today, the solution starts with we, the young people. If we are able to direct whatever we say we are using for young people to the young people, I believe that we can have the African continent we are looking for. If not, we'll be having the symposium upon symposium, discuss ideas, discuss brains. But if we, the individual young people, are not ready to change our mindset of how we see things, our mindset of how we involve our fellow young person, our mindset of how we team up with our young person, then I'm sorry to say, we can have the beautiful symposium on the continent, but at the long run, we'll still be where we are. So what coming back to what the BB Foundation is doing is, we are looking at young people, as I started, people from 2 years upwards, because we believe these are the people where we are able to impact into them, let them understand what life is, what they need to learn, what they need to understand, study. They grew up with it. In this case, we are able to instill the moral culture one of the participants talked about, that if we don't have the moral culture, whatever we are doing will be of waste of time. So the Baby Foundation have adapted some villages in the rural areas whereby every month we do our best to visit the village we have adapted, interact with the young children. Sometimes we go there with books because some of these kids are not able to go to school because their parents or their family cannot afford a single book that costs 2 cedis or 3 cedis. And we believe that shouldn't hinder the child going to school to learn. Even sometimes it is pencil, sometimes it is slippers, shoe, a uniform the child is not having to go to school. So we do our best within ourselves to raise funds. We hardly seek for funds from donors because I have come to realize most NGOs becomes inactive. Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, most NGOs become inactive in the sense that when there is no funding, there is no activities. So we are advocating that as a CSO or a young organization that seeks to help young people, you should be able to have a backbone financial system that in case funding don't come in, your project or activities you have for young people keeps on running. If not, you will have the beautiful ideas, proposals, and you won't be able to get funding for it. What happens? Do you leave the proposals on the shelves? Do you leave the ideas you have on the table? No, you have to find ways and means to generate revenue to propagate that agenda. So at the Baby Foundation, at the leadership level, we contribute monthly money whereby we take to run our monthly activities. Whereby our volunteers too, we do our best to engage them to bring on board whatever they have. It is voluntary. So maybe a volunteer may be coming from a family that can afford a pack of exercise books. We tell them, if you can bring even one single exercise book, we appreciate it because our exercise book can be given to a child to use to write and learn. So at the Baby Foundation, these are the things we are doing. We are much centered on the early childhood development because that is where the youth to say starts from. And that is where the mindset of the youth is created from. So we are much centered on early childhood development because that is the foundation of everyone. All of us on this platform had some foundation that have built us to where we are. So it is important we look at that aspect. It is not the youth who have seen all, who have experienced everything to come on board. Yes, it's important to bring all of them, but if we really want to change the system we are running, then we have to look at the early child development so that at least the crop of young generation coming up will not be as we are now. Because if we really want to make a change, it needs to be from the early child development. So I will end here on this note that at the Baby Foundation, we are much centered on early childhood development because that is where that is the pivot of youth, and that is the stage a young person is brought up. Because if you don't give the child the basic necessities, ideas, exposure, the child grows up and sees the system as choked. He sees the system as unfriendly, sees the system as robust, not robust for him or her. But if you allow the child at the tender age to understand that the central government is not solely there to give you what you need, but the central government is to put certain basic amenities in place for you to develop yourself, the child will grow up with the mindset that I have to acquire skills. I have to expose myself. I have to socialize. I have to team up and make sure that I have the requisite environment that if central government does not give me the opportunity, I can create the opportunity within the obstacles I find myself in. If we are able to do that, I believe that we can move forward.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ishmael. Thank you very, very much. And that's so deep. It's just we don't have enough time. I would actually have maybe hinted at one or two other things that I will eventually do that as we round up. Or one of the things that we are doing as One Africa Forum to actually impact the lives of the very much younger children from their early grade up to their grade 12 or to their elementary school and high schools and SS3, depending on where you're connecting from. We have a lot of projects that we have rolled out, and there's one that is so dear to our hearts, which is also aligned with what you're saying. Thank you. We have another amazing young girl here, Helen. I don't know, is she there with us? I want her to please unmute. Helen is actually Helen is in the aerospace. I mean, I'd just like her to introduce herself, though. So she's doing such a great work, and also in an area that we least expect a woman to be pushing, but she's doing quite well. So please, Helen, just tell us, what are you doing in your sector, and what are the opportunities that are available for young Africans to tap into?
Okay, thank you so much. I'm really delighted to be here. For me, my mantra is everything space and everything Africa, because I really love my continent and I love to be in gatherings where we talk about Africa and how to forge a way forward. So I've listened carefully to the previous speakers, and I must say that I'm intrigued, and I feel like I'm really not alone when it comes to my thoughts about how we can forge a way forward for the development of Africa. Like Mr. Boateng, sorry if I don't pronounce the name correctly, like how he was saying about early child development. So I'm going to be speaking briefly about the African space sector and what we do and how this connects to Africa generally, and also working with young people and children, like he mentioned. So for us in the African space industry, we understand that space is the future. I'm very sure we are all aware of what's going on in the global space sector, the new ISS that has been built by China, a space station being built by China, all the innovations happening in America, how NASA is working together with SpaceX. Like, space is always on the news almost every single day. And due to the fact that Elon Musk is now the richest man in the world, and he's also a big tech mogul in the industry, in the space industry, it kind of always puts space at the front of things these days. So, but when we see all these things, the question that always comes to my mind is, so how about Africa? What is Africa doing? We've missed out on a lot of technological strides over the decades when it comes to space. Like, what steps are we taking to ensure again that Africans don't get left behind? So to answer that question, what we need to understand is that for us, it's not just about exploring space and, want to go out there, check out what's on Mars, or go out there and see what's happening in the other planets or whatever. It's not about that for us. In the African space sector, we are more concerned about how we can utilize space technology, satellite technology, space exploration, how we can utilize space data and resources to solve the socio-economic problems that we are facing in the continent. So most African space agencies in the different countries, like let's say Nigeria, Ghana, Angola, Kenya, and the rest, they focus on utilizing space to solve problems, agricultural problems, desertification, human rights issues, security. These are the things that we try to focus on in the space sector. But we still have a lot of challenges. And I will just focus on one of them, and just to, take a cue from what the last speaker was saying, which I've also learned a lot. We need homegrown talents. If we don't start developing a culture of science and technology in the continent, then we really have no future. If you look at the African Union Agenda 2063, I'm sure most of us here, we are all Pan-Africanists, so we must be familiar with the agenda. You will notice that every single aspiration in Agenda 2063 somehow needs science and technology and in particular space technology, to achieve these aspirations. A peaceful and prosperous continent, science, innovation, whatever that is in the aspirations. We need tech, we need science. And the problem with the continent is that over the years, the issue of a horrible political terrain that we have in most African countries, in Nigeria, problems of leadership, government, science is not, people don't put focus on science and people don't invest in science. We don't have a lot of funds released for research in the continent. And this is a big problem, because if we don't start raising a generation of science conscious students, not just science the way they are being taught, because I think the problem is, it's not like they don't teach science in Africa or they don't teach science in our schools, but we have more of writing on the board, X plus Y is equals to Z or whatever, than the real practical. And we of course know that for practical and research like that, we need a lot of funding to get materials and resources for these students to learn. So as a way of contribution, I would just like to say that going further, we should concentrate on raising a generation of space conscious young people, or not just space, I would like to be broader, science, technology, engineering, mathematics, art education. We need to raise like a generation that would be properly taught. Homegrown talent is the future. Even though the issue of the brain drain will always continue, because I wouldn't even want to use myself for example. If I want to work in the space sector and I have a vision to be, maybe I want to be an astronaut or whatever, being the fact that I'm in Nigeria or I'm born into a country like Nigeria or whatever, puts me at a disadvantageous position than someone that is outside the country. So in order to ensure that my dreams don't die, the next thing that will come to my mind is I just have to leave this continent and go fend for myself and go fend for my family or my dreams. I have to pursue my dreams. And sometimes when people criticize and talk about the brain drain, I've heard a lot of African Union leaders talk about the brain drain. They are not understanding young people. I know it may look like they are coming from the selfish and greedy point of view, but naturally everybody wants to be where they are appreciated and where they feel like their contributions are needed and necessary. And in Africa, dreams die every single day. Dreams die because of lack of resources, lack of finances, lack of motivation, lack of external help, and lack of government assistance. So to prevent the brain drain, the solution is to ensure that homegrown talent is being sustained by providing enough funds for development locally. As a space advocate in the African space sector, it's actually very challenging to stand up and talk about space, because the next thing is you're talking about space. We have not solved this, we have not solved that, we have not solved that, we have not solved this, because they don't understand that space influences every single sector. Every single sector, no matter any sector you want to call right now, I'll be able to show you how space somehow influences that sector and how satellite tech or anything related to space is necessary for that sector to go. So like the last speaker has said, enough with symposiums, and discussions like this are very helpful. We get motivated, we get inspired, we know that we are not alone in this. But in our immediate communities, like what the One Forum Africa is doing, helping out, solving these challenges as young people becomes eminent. So if I'm speaking up and saying we need homegrown talent, the next question is, what am I doing about it? So for me, in the space industry, locally, I've been able to organize space-related competitions for young students in primary schools. I've been able to organize events to help interact between stakeholders in the industry and young undergrads like myself. I've been able to just give my own quota in ensuring that I'm not just talking about we need to develop homegrown talents. I'm also doing something about it. And I think that is one message that we should live with as I close my speech. That's one message we should live with as we're leaving the forum today, the discussion. Building sustainable structures. A structure means it is permanent. If it's a structure, it means it is lasting. It is well thought out. If it's a structure, it means we've done proper planning, not just some one-off, spontaneous event or platform or one spontaneous something that at the end of the day, everybody just goes home and forget about it. For us to build sustainable structures, we must get young people involved. We must groom them, we must train them, we must support them financially, we must support them materially, We must support them with the resources. And on this note, I'd like to just encourage every single person here, regardless of your sector, maybe you are into politics or governance, engineering, health, whichever is your sector that you're working on, try to consider the greater good of Africa. And one of the ways in which you can consider Africa is by thinking about the future of Africa, which is the young people in Africa right now. When we're talking about Agenda 2063, it's still a long time, relatively. So we need to develop young people and give them the Africa they deserve, because really Africans deserve better. The young people deserve better. And I just want to appreciate the organizers once again for inviting me to speak in this symposium. It's been an honor. I am reading, I am learning a lot, and thank you very much. You can always reach out to me with anything related to the space industry or satellite industry. My specialization is actually space policy and law. I'm a law student, but I focus more on advocacy and speaking up for space and speaking up for Africa. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Nelly. That was really very impactful. I'll just pick on you now, Mr. Ernest, but please just be ready. I'll pick on you now. So thank you very much, Nelly. Please, if you need to reach Nelly, you need to reach Table Hall. Just reach out to us, and then we'll connect you appropriately to the right person. So you've heard her in the space sector. She's actually advocating that we should look so much more into the future of Africa than we are focusing on the present. And thank you. Mr. Ishmael also mentioned something about the educational system and also how we need to start mentoring people. We must start mentoring Africans and so on. So yes, Mr. Ernest, you have a question? Please unmute and take your question. Yeah, please speak out so we can hear you. We can hear you now.
Okay. I have a question. How can the youth who are economically disadvantaged benefit or contribute from the Africa Sustainable Economic?
Sorry, I didn't get that question.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
I say, how can the Africa youth who are economically disadvantaged benefit or contribute from the Africa Sustainable Economic Development?
Okay, how can the African youth who are economically disadvantaged benefit from the Africa Sustainable Economic Development? Okay, we'll just take note of that question. And if there's anyone who may be able to answer that question, please just raise your hands. Otherwise, we'll leave it to one of our panelists to attend to. Mr. Ishmael, please, a quick one. You have a question? I saw your hand up.
No, I have a question, but I not a question, but just to add up to what the earlier speaker said. But to answer, before I go there, let me answer the question he asked. How do we tackle young people who are economically disabled, like disfranchised economically? You see, I have always been talking about we having a youth bank, in quotes, a youth bank in the sense that will give young people business ideas, the life they need to get. Because all what we are talking about, young people have great ideas, but the financial strength to implement them becomes a challenge. So I'm looking at a day where we will have an African youth bank, whereby any young person sitting in any African continent with a brilliant idea practically can tap into that bank facility and use the fund given to that practical business idea for the implementation of it to benefit other young people, so that these young people he's talking of, they are economically defranchised, can also be bold enough, say that, look, I'm presenting my proposal, I'm presenting my business to this African Youth Bank because I believe that it is for the Africans and it's for the African youth. So it is time we also look at those areas. How best can we lobby among ourselves to build up an African Youth Bank that we can all tap into it, so that even if our central governments are not minding us, we are minding our own selves. We are pulling our resources together. Because if we are able to do that, our various central governments realize that the forces that are coming up is stronger than them. So it is time we also look at those areas. How best can we put our individual resources together into a pool so that other young people can tap into it and develop the Africa we all desire for? So that is what I wanted to add up to the priority and the question he asked, because that is what I wanted to talk about, in the sense that we have to find ways and means we can generate revenue among ourselves, because there are various young people in various African countries to say are in good position that if we decide that, okay, every individual should bring $5, we have a legal instituted African Youth Bank. Every month, $5 goes into that bank. Any young person with a beautiful practical idea can tap into that money and use it for the developmental project he or she wants to use it for. So I rest my case over there.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Ishmael. That's such a brilliant idea. It's worth diving a little more into. Thank you very much. We have the African Youth Connect team here, the African Youth Connect team. Please, I don't know if they are here. I don't know if the African Youth Connect team, please, if you're there, please just unmute and tell us what are you doing in the African Youth Connect and what is the African Youth Connect all about? Yeah, please just give us a brief. Are you there? I see you here. I don't know. Is anyone behind the system there? Hello? Okay, just before we reconnect again with you, while you are working on that, we, Mr. Samuel, yeah, I had cut you off earlier because your network was bad. Are you fine now? Do you think you can then tell us a little more about what you're doing for the youth in Cameroon and what the opportunities are there? And please, I need a team. I need a team from Ethiopia, a team from the Express Africa in Ethiopia. Please just signal me. Just raise your hand so I can pick on you. Your leader had told me that he was just rushing out, but he said that one of the teammates is here. So please, team members from Ethiopia on the Express Africa, just let me know. Just raise your hands and I'll pick you. Yes, Mr. Samuel.
Okay, as I said earlier, we are working in the northern regions of Cameroon. First of all, I have to express my gratitude to the previous speakers. I really was touched by what has been said, so especially space, and she's right in everything that she has said. I know nothing about space. All I know is digital marketing, a little bit of trading, banking, and I'm not really interested in that. And the other one who was talking about involving 2-year-old kids, it's really, he has a big point. I think we have to change the way we proceed, the way we carry out projects, the way we impact youth. Okay, so coming back to Ndoletize, what we have been doing so far, like I was saying, I hope you can get me now. Cameroon is facing a lot of crisis in the northern part of the country, either from the Central African Republic and Boko Haram there at the border with Nigeria. So what we have tried with the little funds that we have at our disposal is empowering some women in that area. Like I said earlier, we picked up 6 women for the first part of the project. The project was called Women Empowerment, and we picked up 6 women, and we gave them some allowances to boost their business, and for some of those 6 women to start their own business. And we started monitoring, evaluating everything. And at the end of the day, I was there 2 weeks ago to check, because the project started last year, so it's already 1 year, and I came back to check, and I saw that 4 women were still running their business, and I really got amazed, and it really encouraged me. It really encouraged me because when we started the project, like I said, I didn't even believe it, because we had no money, we had nothing. I know money is really a critical issue, and it's something that I really want to say to everybody who is here, that you don't really need money, first of all. Maybe money will come, because if you are serious in what you do, people will see the level of things that you can do with a small amount of money. And then I promise you, they will help you out. They will put their money, they will support you. But what you need, first of all, is to start. You need to start. You need to do something. You need to show them that, yes, we don't have money, but this is what we can do. And all the various speakers, I don't think we have a lot of money, but we are trying to do our best with what we have at our disposal. Today, we started the project at 2. Today, we are 12, because there are 10 other volunteers that have joined the project, that are working on the project, and they are helping us a lot. And there's now a project on digital, which is under discussion, because we have noticed that if you go in Facebook, if you are living in Cameroon, you will see that there is a big disconnection between the northern and the southern part of the country, because those living in the northern areas, they are not really connected. They are not really into this internet, this digital, everything that is digital. They are still doing everything, in a traditional way. And we want to change that. We want to show them that they can touch people around the globe, and share their ideas with people around the world, even if they are living in, I don't know, in the bush. Because if you see me right now, I'm in the east, actually, and I'm with the local Bororo here, with a lot of with a lot of cows around me. So, and we still have 3G network. It's amazing. And I say, so there's this project was under discussion. I hope that by the end of this year, we can start engaging, working with the local communities to show them what they can get from internet, and what internet can can add as value in their lives. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Samuel. I'll quickly pick on the team from the Africa Youth Connect. Please just tell us exactly what you're doing there. Then after that, I don't know if Ademola Damilola is available. I'd like you to speak on more opportunities that you said women should take the responsibility to fight stereotypes that prevent them from exploring certain work. Yeah, I'd like you to just maybe elaborate
Hello?
on that, and then we can take it. Yes. Yes, please. That's the team from the African Connect, please.
Okay. Hello, can you? Okay. Good afternoon,
Can you
everyone.
please tell us what you're doing
So
in
you
your
can hear me,
organization,
right?
what the opportunities are for young people, what are your challenges, and how you think African youth can tap into the opportunities there, and just network and get the best out of it for Africa.
Okay. All right. Good afternoon once again. So my name is Idris. and I'm the CEO. Yeah, my name is Idris. So I'm the CEO of AfterConnect.com, not Africa. Not Africa. So can you hear me? Sorry.
Please proceed, yes, sir.
Yes. Okay. So I'm speaking on behalf of AfterConnect.com. So AfterConnect just does Africa Continental Free Trade Area advocacy for all categories of people. So I don't know if people on this call actually know about Africa Continental Free Trade Area. That's the new free trade area under the African Union, one of the flagship projects of African Union, which is under the Agenda 2063. So basically, after Connect just does, we just do advocacy for that particular market. Now, as regards youth, the focus on youth is that we try to get into, we try to reach out to people who organize, say, youth events like this, then try to communicate the Africa Continental Free Trade Area through their own channels so that the youth can actually take advantage of the Africa Continental Free Trade Area. Personally, I've been in the e-commerce space for like 8 years. And one of the components of the AFCFT is to actually use e-commerce to drive development, industrialization, job creation for youth, and inclusiveness. That's what e-commerce can do within the AFCFTA. So it's basically an online platform that tries to reach out to youth and people, women, youth, and people, other groups of people, just to be able to take part within the AFCFTA and take advantage of it. I think one last thing I would say is the youth have to take ownership of AFCFTA and also take ownership of various sectors within Africa. You don't need to wait for, like the last speaker said, I think the two previous speakers, sometimes you need money, but you need more of action, interest, passion to start. You can start with whatever you have. And as you go on, there could be people who support you. If you have your own personal business, you can support yourself. For me, in my own instance, I have my own personal business. So I can fund the platform from my personal business. So if you have that opportunity, or if you have family and friends that can support you, it's fine. And also, one parting shot will be, even if you can reach just 1,000 people to communicate your value so that they can be part of the whole development agenda of Africa, that would be very good. So let's all continue to do what we can do to make our continent a great place. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You said your name was what again? Ishmael? Oh, sorry.
Idris.
Idris. Sorry, I beg your pardon. Yeah, Idris, thank you very much for that interesting one. And you hear that now. They want to connect with you, and they want you to understand what the free trade agreement is and how you can connect with it. And just a quick one on what he said, that them using platforms like this to reach out to people. That is one of the things that One African Forum really stands for. Yes, of course, we are an NGO, but also we're an NGO that connects several NGOs together across the continent. And we are a people that connect other people together across the continent. You understand? And that is what we're basically doing. You want to reach out to these people. That's the platform we're providing. That is one of the reasons for this symposium. So we can get a talk. We need to understand things that are happening, and how we can take advantage and, leverage on these opportunities that are there for us. Another quick one again on One African. Please, if you have a point, just raise your hands, and and we'll recognize you before I call on another person. We also have a plan to see what I just saw in the comment section, how we can improve the curriculum of Africa. We during the African conference last year, we also discussed this in depth.
on how we can improve the curriculum of Africa to be rich enough to empower Africans by the time they have graduated, or even before they graduate, that they do not need to depend on the government. They can stand on their own. There are a lot of opportunities out there. And so in doing this, we set out a team that is working on research on the curriculum to inculcate in the Africa education system, and so on and so forth. I'll go in depth in that. But like I said, you can visit our website. You can reach out to us anytime, and then we'll talk to you more, let you know more of the opportunities that are available there. And let me just quickly take on Mr. David Aquara. Would you please just unmute? And yeah, I see you now.
Well done, everyone. I want to highlight the diaspora collaboration. After the emergence of Black Lives Matters, we realized that personally, that a lot of people have been trying to connect with us in the African continent. I've had conversations with techists who are moving into Ghana, for example, to set up companies, right, that will be run by Africans. As we are speaking of all these issues that we have, we should also consider a synergy between our African brothers in diaspora. These guys have experience. These guys understand how to make things work. I'm not saying that we as Africans do not know how to make things work, but we also have to be true to ourselves that when it comes to technology, when it comes to infrastructural development, when it comes to entrepreneurship, they've been doing it better. So it will be key for us to connect with our brothers in diaspora. I'm going to put this out there as a fact. When we began the Pan-African documentary on the African continental free trade era, it was a self-funded project by myself and a few family members. When we started posting pictures from countries to countries, we realized that people in diaspora started reaching out to us. Some of the donations that we have had came from them. And when I engage them in conversation, they are interested in motherland. They want motherland to be great. And they see Mr. Akon as one of their inspiration, right? With what he's doing with, is it Smart City that he calls it? The city he built, he has built one already in Senegal and is planning to build another one in Uganda. So we should start looking at strategy to connect our brothers and our sisters in diaspora to what we are doing. I heard somebody talk about countries who are disadvantaged financially. We should be looking at what kind of value we can create here that we can invite our brothers to invest in. And part of our documentary is showing the investment opportunities in Africa. We are telling the African entrepreneurship story from the place of strength. We are tired of telling stories of how all the problems that we're having. No, we are focused on, we have problems which we acknowledge, right? But we're showing you the strength, the investment opportunities. Not for example, in Nigeria, not everywhere in Nigeria they shoot guns. People have an assumption that when you come to Nigeria, they will just come and kill you, right? Because of what the media has been doing, we have been promoting only bad news. We start promoting the good of our land so that our brothers who are eager to connect with motherland would see us as a bridge to connecting for their connection back to motherland. And it will be important to the growth of Africa if we have more Africans in diaspora invest in Africa. They have monies, they have experience, they have connection. And these are opportunities that I think that Africans like us can leverage on to build a sustainable and a beautiful African continent. I have to say that all the previous speaker has spoken so well. I'm really interested in the foundation that helped kids from age of 2. Part of the problem that I have discovered traveling the continent is that, yes, we want greatness, but we do not understand how to achieve it. So we still even have problem with contentment. You see how vigorous and passionate and how desperate we are when the subject of money comes up. Even at a 5-year-old child, I was watching a video of a 5-year-old child. He started spraying him money, and he left the poem that he was supposed to be reciting and started chasing after the money. That just reflects how money has become a god to us. And I'm glad that their foundation who is putting young children right in that pattern. I'm praying and I'm hoping that this initiative will be spread across all of African countries, so that we would first know that we are enough as a people, right? That every other thing, money is just going to aid us for that. Money is not the end. Money is just a means to our greatness, so that we will not be clouded with money and start fighting ourselves. So at this point, I would round up what I'm saying, and I'm hoping that, like all our speakers have said, action should be taken. Action should be taken. It shouldn't just be conversation. All of these points that we have been jotting down, we should take actionable plan, so that when we see the next symposium, it will be testimonies of, oh, we did this out of this symposium, and look at how it is working, so that we would know that we're making progress. We can be tracking all the effort that we have been putting in, canvassing or putting youth together to have conversation. God bless Africa.
Thank you, Mr. David. And now up to everyone. I mean, should you have any idea that you want to run, and you have this passion, like they've rightly said, I mean, money is not the first thing you should look out for. Just do what you can do, and if you want to run an idea through us, it's fine. You can always reach us. Like I've dropped the details there. But you can always visit our website at oneafricanforum.org, and just connect with us. Let us know. Share these ideas, run it through us, and let's see how we can do it. Wherever you are in Africa, we are trying to run a united, developed, and an independent Africa. You see. So I would want to just quickly call on Mr. Jonas. Where is he? Let me see if I can look for you. Just to share a thing of two. I mean, please, guys, I want everyone to just try and come on and say something. Let's have everybody's. Yeah, thank you, Mr. Let's have everyone have a say here, and move on to action. Move on to action. Mr. David, thank you. Please, I'm aware you'll be coming to Southern Africa in a couple of weeks. Should you land in South Africa, reach out to me. I'd like us to connect and let you know some of the things we're doing, particularly as it relates to children, to youth, and to Africans as well. You're sharing beautiful stories about Africa. That's how God connected you. I'd like to put one of our stories out there, and so that you can, you need to hear, and also let the world hear some of the things that One African Forum is doing for Africa. So I'm looking forward to seeing you when you come to South Africa, Mr. Jonas.
Thank you so much for giving me another opportunity to say some of the things that we have been discussing here. I am a youth, I'm a young person, and I'm so proud to be an African and still here on the continent. What we would all have to gather together and bring our brothers together to do is that we have to get that vision of the new Africa, with our North Star being a continent that is built on solid structures. And these solid structures, its foundation should be on moral vision. Morals should be our fundamental things, that no matter where you find yourself, we know that we are building a strong moral. And if we build our nations individually, from South Africa to Ghana to Egypt to Kenya to Ethiopia, everywhere, I believe that we will see the new Africa we are talking about, because infrastructure will come today, new infrastructure will come, but we will not base our foundation on just infrastructure, physical infrastructure building. We want to look at structures that are built on morals, that will develop our mindset, that we will have a change of mindset, we'll have a change of heart, we'll have an insight and understanding. And all of us will have a clarified purpose, that I want to see that Africa change, and it will take me as an individual in Africa to see that change. The value of Africa will never be different. Our value systems are strong. We have the best, and we need to put these value systems, which are principles and beliefs, which we have gotten from our culture and where we come from. And I want us to see that the change we want to see in our continent is permanent. It should be perpetuated by young people. It should be a movement. where young people are together, building together the new Africa we want to see. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jonas. I mean, that's it. I mean, we need to start building mental structure. We need to start, building mindset and structures that will, help us, see for the future and see through into the future. We cannot repeat the same mistakes and keep making complaints, and that's one of the things that actually birthed One African Forum. It was just complaints and complaints and complaints everywhere you go in Africa. Everyone you speak to in Africa, there's complaints and complaints and complaints. We need to begin to stand up for Africa. We need to begin to stand up for ourselves, and stand up for ourselves and stand up for each other, and also do what you can, when you can, how you can. Do it the best way you can. Anything worth doing is worth doing well. I quickly just want to run it back again to our keynote speaker. I think he's back now. Okay, yes, sir. He's back now. Please, will you please just unmute? Please, just so that he can just make a couple of remarks to add to what every one of us have been saying. Yes, sir. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much. I'm indeed very delighted to have been part of this engagement, these conversations today. It had actually cut across a wide spectrum of interest among many African youths that have participated here today. And I think it's a thing of delight. And I want to join Jonas to emphasize the fact that we have the strength, we have the energy, we have what it takes, if and only if we can be very positive in our actions. And like I said in my opening remarks, we need to just be positive in our outlook, in our thinking and our engagements with one another and with our various leadership across Africa. Truth be told, the nature of Africa continent is unique on planet Earth, and there are a lot that we can harness as a people for the greatness that our motherland deserves. I was particularly very delighted about the lady who took to a passion that many would think is a man's jurisdiction. And I think that is how it should go. And every support that can be given in that regard should be given. And those who have opportunities that can be leveraged on to raise funds for those who are interested in pursuing one passion or the other should also not hesitate to do so. Like the young man from After Connect, and I think the proposal he brought to this platform is quite, is also quite very remarkable. And I want to thank him for doing that. And a great number of our friends here, some who are engaged in non-governmental organizations, assignments, voluntary, in order to just have a happy hand for the African youth. I want to thank all of us. On the whole, I believe that some of the recommendations and things we have spoken about are the right structures, the right attitude, the right governance institutions that we actually need to be able to have sustainable development in Africa. It is not a one-size-fits-all solution to all our problems. And it is not a destination. Sustainable development of Africa is not a destination. It's a work in progress, and that we must understand. Our day-to-day activity, engagement, thinking, and actions are very important towards this overall objective, because you cannot tell at some point in our journey, some of us who have participated here will hold very important positions in our respective countries. And then we must remind ourselves that we have a collective duty, because we are also leaders in waiting in your respective areas. Even students, I've had students on this platform showing very remarkable interest in space technology. And that is also quite remarkable. And that is one area that Africa is lagging seriously behind. And I salute Nelly for coming on board this platform to also advance her passion in that regard. I want to thank all of you for having me on this platform. And I hope that in future, I will have similar opportunities. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Indeed, in future, you will have similar opportunities. I mean, you've been phenomenal. We do appreciate you, and you have been able to, touch on all the points in ways that really provide way forward. I mean, we're getting practical. We're getting practical. That is the essence of this conversation. Let's start getting practical. There's so much talking out there, and there's no action. And so, with all the points you have highlighted and enumerated, you have made it so easy for us to say, okay, you know what? As soon as I step out of this office, I'm going to go do this. As soon as I step out of this classroom, this is the next thing to do. Whatever it is. And thank you very much. We will always be in touch with you, and we do really appreciate your coming on board. And yes, I will always be there. We'll be rounding up the symposium soon. We'll be rounding up the symposium soon. I don't know if there are any closing remarks from anybody, so that we can, just touch on a couple of things as closing remarks. If there's anyone who has anything to say, please just raise your hands. Just raise your hands, and then we will move it forward. We'll just take it from there. Are there any closing remarks before we move on? Closing remark. I see IFB LSA. I don't know what that organization. Okay, yeah, I see. Yeah, thank you. Mr. Samuel, please unmute and let's hear. Please, if there are any closing remarks, just raise your hands and I'll take on you right now.
Okay. I'd like to express my heartfelt thanks to everybody who work on this project. I would like to thank also each and every one of us who took his time to attend this meeting. I strongly believe that if we team up, if we band together, we'll achieve tremendous success. There's a lot of things that has already been done. And I think that our day-to-day action can help us build the Africa we want. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Our day-to-day action will help us build the Africa we want. So please, guys, whatever you do, be very conscious that you are building Africa in your little way. And like I said, that is what we are doing. We are connecting everyone together, and we're ensuring that we get everyone on board, So whatever it is, you have an idea, run it through us, we'll see what we can do. Yes, one of the essence is to develop Africa. That is our primary goal. Develop Africa, unite Africa, and tell good stories about Africa. So thank you, Mr. David Akwara, for telling the stories of Africa. And we're really looking forward to seeing so many other good stories being told. Just to quickly add this, in stories being told, I know there are a lot of writers out there. There are a lot of columnists and journalists and so on and so forth. So what One African Forum resolved to do as part in preparation to this conference is we're creating a page on our website where Africans can come and tell their stories. A page on our website where if you're a columnist and you're looking for a platform to, always put in your stories, maybe because you cannot access a magazine or a news agency in your country, we are giving you, we'll create a page where everyone can contribute. If you're a columnist, write it, send it to us, we'll publish it out there. So you can always have to refer to it and tell people, go see my work out here. Whatever it is you're doing, if you're telling stories through photography, send it to us. Just send it to us, we'll put it out. We are dedicating a page on our website strictly for telling stories of Africa. We're dedicating a page on our website strictly for telling stories of Africa. So I'm telling you this, you might not fall in that category, but please tell it to someone else as well and let them know what we're doing. Send it to our email addresses, we'll see what we do and then put it up there. You have a platform. We're giving you a platform to actually tell your story. So thank you. Yeah, Mr. David, I see your hands.
Thank you so much. Thank you for bringing me on board. I'm grateful. My last remark would be everyone that was here or everyone listening to me now, we should rally around content creations, content creators across Africa. It's important that the media is one of the strongest tools that we can use to reach, that we can use to change the narrative of Africa. So let's employ that power. Let's get as much content creator as possible. Let's start pushing positive stories. Like I would always say, let's tell our African story from a place of strength, not a place of weakness. So please, guys, let's put our hands together and get as much content creators in all sectors, basically, so that we can start pushing a lot of positive things about our continent. And we hope that in 42 years from now, and that's the agenda 2063, Africa would be the Africa we want. I mean, the beautiful Africa that our children would not be seeking dual citizenship in other continents. Rather, they will be seeking dual citizenship in Ivory Coast, Ghana, Egypt, so within the African continent, because we are now where we want to be. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. David. So that is him re-echoing what we have just said. Please, guys, we are seeking for content creators, columnists, and whatnot. We are actually giving you an opportunity. If you're a content creator, if you're a storyteller, whatever it is, you're a columnist, even if you're a journalist and you want to always publish your reports, you get stories, you want to publish your reports, it's fine. We are creating a page, like we said, for Africans to tell their stories on our website. A page for Africans to tell their stories. So reach out to us and just drop it there and we will share it. And yeah, you can always have reference, you can always have it to make reference to. Thank you all very much. It's been a delight. Mr. Ishmael, I see you. Okay, let me just take you on mute, please, and let's hear. Mr. Ishmael.
Yeah, with regards to what you just said, I'm also giving anybody the opportunity who wants to publish any article future on our website. That is on my media website. That is www.thenewindependentonline.com. I'll put my email address in the chat. Anybody who wants to send anything, his or her works, and wants to propagate it to the world, my doors are open. Thank you
very much. Thank you very much. Opportunities are knocking, opportunities are coming. That is one of the reasons why we have called for this symposium. So thank you, Mr. Ishmael. So I think now you do not have, anyone has any excuse, but if there's a sector that you're in and you think we've not talked about it, please let us know and then we'll actually quickly take it and we have 6 minutes before we run this symposium. Yes, Mr. Toban.
Thanks you once again to African Forums. Personally, I'm so excited because most of the time I'm trying to look for ways that can promote Africa, because if you leave Africa and you go to the Western world, what you hear there from the Western is that Africa is still a illiterate continent. Africa is still in darkness. They're when they ask you such questions, it is so difficult for you trying to answer them, and at the same time telling you that once upon a time, Africa was having a great kingdoms, started from Uganda, Ghana, then we know also from Sudan. But the question is that they ask you that why are you still living in poverty while you still have plenty of land, which is fertile land, and you got people trying to migrate through the Mediterranean Sea, thousands of them that are dying. Actually, it's a great challenge that we need to address, so that for a sustainable Africa, and so that we should build a resilient cities in Africa, we need to join ourselves and put our hands together and open our borders to the youth so that they have to travel. One thing that I learned is that people, if they don't travel, they don't learn really. So that if you travel today to Ghana, you will see how Ghanaians are trying to tackle different situations, and maybe you don't have that knowledge. If you go, you invest in that knowledge, you go back to your village in Africa, somewhere you try to give or apply that knowledge. And also I'm impressed by the initiative that have been set up by women, trying to encourage women in rural areas that they should invest, they should not really look or depends on government or from organization. We should not really depend on UN and other organizations that they should help us for. I don't think that we're gonna live this way until, I don't know when are we going to try to believe in ourselves and believe in our land, and to try to leave all the ideologies that we think they're all good, that they can change us. What can change us really is what within our society.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tobin. You have said it. You really hit it. We need to change our society. We need to be conscious of ourselves, and that's the things we'll be doing. And we need to tell our stories as Africans. And yeah, those are the things that we need to do as Africans. And those are the structures that can sustain us as Africans. Mr. Ademola, I saw your hand up earlier. Did you just leave now? I saw your hand up. Can you please just take it from here, Mr. Ademola?
Okay, okay. I must confess I am very delighted to be part of this symposium. It has really been a huge blessing to me, and I'm so excited. Okay, earlier I said something about women taking responsibility to kick down every kind of stereotype or orthodox perspective that limits them from participating in certain workspaces. So I just want to say that it's one thing to talk, it's another thing to take responsibility. And I see responsibility as responding to the change that you desire. If you want a desire in a particular area, take responsibility. Don't just wish. So, as Africans, I feel one of the things we need to do to foster Pan Africanism and to ensure that there is sustainable development in our continent is to ensure that our every law and every culture that we are perpetrating should be gender inclusive, and it should be people inclusive. Our laws and our cultural practices should not limit women in any area. I love the lady that spoke about is he astronaut or something? I was so excited about her speech, and so I feel that we need to keep promoting whatever we be gender inclusive, because actually there are certain discriminatory laws in African countries as a result of customary laws and practices that undermine gender inequality. So I feel all of these things need to be looked into critically, and we should take responsibility to ensure that women are not left behind as we are trying to advance sustainable development growth. Women should
Okay, Mr. Dami,
not be left behind because they are very strike a balance in our advancement agenda. It shouldn't be one-sided. So that's what I want to say. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Daminola. Please just check your inbox. I sent you my contact. I'd need you to connect with me so we can take some of these your issues further. You have said some very important issues. We, as One African Forum, we actually launched a campaign to seek equality for Africa and for Africans, and also to eradicate gender-based violence and all that. And yeah, you are hitting some points, and that's very good. I just sent you my numbers. Just connect with me, and then we'll talk further. Um, are there any other hands I see? Because I should run it. We'll be running it up right now. Is there any other person who would like to share a comment or two with us? And as we run it up. Okay. So here I want to say a very big thank you to everyone of you. I really want to appreciate your time. I want to appreciate your contribution. I want to appreciate your dedication. I mean, some of you have been here from the moment we started, and you've been here through it all. And that shows how much interest that you have in the betterment of Africa. And we do appreciate you. Thank you so much. We are hoping that after this symposium, we would not just end up and go back to where we are, where we were, or end up where we are right now. We will actually forge a way forward. So please, guys, I want you to go out there, for the change that you're looking for, for the change that you seek, the structures that we need to start building it around you. And one of the most important structure that we need to build as Africa is our mental structure. Whatever you think, build yourself. And thank you. In terms of the law and legalities, let us not be afraid. Be bold. Let's must be bold enough to speak out in the faces of corruption and the faces of anomalies. We must be bold enough to speak out. If there's anything going on wrong in your country and you think it is not right, there's no problem. You can reach out to One African Forum. We will speak for you. We will be your voice. We will complement your voice, because you can be silent and we're speaking. We'll complement your voice. We all need to stand up for one another, and we'll bring the entire Africa together, because the truth is, when Africa is standing, that means we are all standing. So thank you all very much. God bless you. And yeah, I'll see you again. May the Almighty be with you all. Thank you. Bye, everyone. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye,
Have a
everyone.
blessed day. Thank you for this merge.
Bye, everyone.
I wish everyone a great weekend. Bye.
Wow, that was great.
Bye, everyone.